Alright, y'all, what's going on? It's about that time of the year. By the time I release this video, it probably should be about October, so, we should be coming up on one of the greatest holidays in existence. I'm talking about Halloween, bro. This is just the best time of the year. Let's be honest. Fall is the best. The weather is just so nice. You got football playing on the TVs. It smells great outside. I don't know if, anyone will get what I'm talking about, but it's kind of like that bonfire smell mixed with leaves and shit. Man, it's great. It's great stuff. Like I said, October also contains the best holiday. Not only is Halloween a chance for you and your friends to go on an adventure, journeying far and wide through vast lands, going through different neighborhoods, battling orcs and goblins, and maybe even losing a member of your party here and there, all while judging the morality and ambition of your quest, asking yourself, is it all worth it? Should we turn back? Yes, it's fucking worth it. You get candy. It's candy, bro. It's the best thing ever. Not to mention, I still have memories of Halloween in elementary school when, I don't know if y'all teachers did this, but there would be days, maybe the day before Halloween or the day of, but we'd bring in shoe boxes and we'd literally spend the whole day decorating them, and we'd get candy from the teachers. And now that I'm looking back at it, knowing how teachers are literally paid shit and the candy was probably not included in their budget, they're goated for that, bro. They're goats. The teachers, they're goats, bro. They're goats. They gave me some good nostalgia, man. Some good nostalgia. Also, Halloween was the first time I saw Chucky. That was the first scary movie I ever saw. Really scary movie as a kid. I mean, it scared me then, but looking back at it now, it's actually hilarious.
I said talk to me, damn it, or else I'm gonna throw you in the fire!
You stupid bitch, you filthy slut! Did you fuck with me?
If you're a non-believer, a non-celebrator of Halloween, shame on you. You know what? Shame on you, you're a heathen. You're a heathen, man. It is said in the ancient script that those who do not partake in the joys and celebration of Halloween will be sent to Halloween hell. You get razor blades in your candy. You'll get melted chocolate in empty candy buckets. Wouldn't you rather just, come to the good side? You get to go to Halloween heaven. Everybody gets to pick whatever costume they want. They get their own pumpkin head bucket filled to the brim with candy and $1 million cash. Jokes aside, I bet some of y'all thought I was gonna disappear for 4 more months and then post the next batch of videos. Nah, not this time. I'm sorry. I've been busy with work and school. I have to make videos for my production class and my job. It's just busy schedule, but the class has been pretty fun. It's my first time being completely surrounded by film majors, and it's 90% of them there are into Harry Potter, Star Wars, Marvel, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, and anime. And it's mostly all those combined, and it's just holy shit, this is awesome. There are also some people there that are into some cool indie stuff that is all new to me. Pretty cool stuff to be introduced to. But yeah, so anyone that's thinking about being a film major, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. It's pretty chill, actually. Anyways, today we're doing this Cryptid Iceberg. It's a pretty big one. It's got 15 tiers on it, and it's got all these monsters and creatures and cryptids and all that type of stuff. So it should be fun. It's gonna be a long one, I think. Yeah, but you know what, guys, don't be scared. Hey, don't be scared. We're all in this together. Should we just turn this into ASMR video? It's okay. For real. We can get through this together. Also, I promise there's no jump scares. I swear, bro. I swear. You don't have to be on edge. All right, I'm not gonna do that shit. Just chill out. We watch the video. All right. So first off, we have tier 1, and the first cryptid is Bigfoot. Bigfoot, also commonly referred to as Sasquatch in Canadian and American folklore, is an ape-like creature that is said to inhabit the forests of North America. Supposed evidence of the existence of Bigfoot includes a number of anecdotal visual sightings, disputed video and audio recordings, photographs, and casts of large footprints. Some of these are speculated or known to be hoaxes, and Bigfoot has become an icon within the fringe subculture of cryptozoology and an enduring element of popular culture. Giant octopus or squids. Now, these are not to be mistaken with the kraken, and an unknown species of giant octopus have been hypothesized as a source of reports of sea monsters such as the Lusca, as well as some of the carcasses of unidentified origin known as globsters. And yeah, these are just, large octopi, squidses. It's a pretty simple one. Yeah. Various sea serpents. A sea serpent is any large marine cryptid which is described as serpentine in shape. Despite their name, sea serpents are usually described as moving with vertical undulations, unlike snakes, and are often believed to be mammals. Although animals like sea serpents appear in various cultures and have been particularly reported worldwide, the first investigations into such animals occurred in Scandinavia, particularly Norway, during the 16th to 18th centuries. Frequent sightings off the New England coast in the early 19th century subsequently shifted focus to the United States. Chupacabra. The chupacabra or chupacabras literally means goat sucker in Spanish, or to suck goats, chupacabra. It's a legendary creature in the folklore parts of the Americas, with its first claimed sightings reported in Puerto Rico in 1995. The name comes from the animal's reported vampirism, as the chupacabra is said to attack and drink the blood of livestock, including goats. Physical descriptions of the creature vary, with some describing it as more dog-like, with others describing it as a lizard or even alien-like. Some report it as being a heavy creature the size of a small bear, with a row of spines reaching from the neck to the base of the tail. Eyewitness sightings have been claimed in Puerto Rico and have since been reported as far north as Maine and as far south as Chile, and even outside of the Americas in countries like Russia and the Philippines. According to biologists and wildlife management officials, the chupacabra is an urban legend. Jersey Devil. In southern New Jersey and Philadelphia folklore of the United States, the Jersey Devil is a legendary creature said to inhabit the Pine Barrens of South Jersey. The creature is often described as a flying biped with hooves, but there are many variations. The common description is that of a bipedal kangaroo-like or wyvern creature-like with a horse or goat-like head, bat wings, horns, and small arms with clawed hands. It has been reported to move quickly and is often described as emitting a high-pitched, blood-curdling scream. Jackalope. The jackalope is a mythical animal of North American folklore, described as a jackrabbit with antelope horns. Folklorists see the jackalope as one of a group of tall-tale animals known as fearsome creatures common to the North American culture since the turn of the 20th century. These beasts often appear in tall tales featuring hodags, giant snakes, fur-bearing trouts, and many others. Thunderbird. The thunderbird is a creature associated with a large bird-like animals that live anywhere in northern Canada and Alaska down to Central America. Similar animals often appear in Native American mythology, and some tales tell of enormous eagles strong enough to carry whales back to their nests. Some stories told that these birds were so large and powerful that when they flapped their wings, thunder was created. Other stories said that there was a thunderbird who battled an enormous killer whale. When the two beasts fought, they destroyed much of the land, knocking down trees and causing much destruction. Loch Ness Monster. The Loch Ness Monster, or Nessie, is a creature in Scottish folklore that is said to inhabit Loch Ness in the Scottish Highlands. It is often described as large, long-necked, and with one or more humps protruding from the water. Popular interest and belief in the creature has varied since it was brought to worldwide attention in 1933. Evidence of its existence is anecdotal, with a number of disputed photographs and sonar readings. Yeti. The Yeti, also known as Métis in Himalayan folklore, is an ape-like creature said to inhabit the Himalayan mountain range in Asia. In Western popular culture, the creature is commonly referred to as the abominable snowman. Supposed evidence of the Yeti's existence includes anecdotal visual sightings, disputed video recordings, photographs, and casts of large footprints. Some of these are speculated or known to be hoaxes. Folklorists trace the origin of the Yeti to a combination of factors including Sherpa folklore and misidentified fauna such as bear or yak. Dover Demon. The Dover Demon is a small humanoid reported from Dover, Massachusetts. It was a subject of an intensive scare during the 1970s when multiple witnesses came forward with their sightings. The Dover Demon was described as looking like a gray variety of alien, except that it has a skin of rosy orange instead of sickly gray. The Dover demon has a large head on a small stick-like body, and it can be bipedal, but it often travels on all fours or switches back and forth between the two modes of locomotion. Mothman. In West Virginia folklore, the Mothman is a humanoid creature reportedly seen in the Point Pleasant area from November 15, 1966 to December 15, 1967. The first sighting was claimed that they saw a large gray creature whose eyes glowed red and was described as a large flying man with 10-foot wings. Following the December 15, 1967 collapse of the Silver Bridge and the death of 46 people, the incident gave rise to the legend and connected the Mothman sightings to the bridge collapse. Bat Squatch. The Bat Squatch is a flying cryptid that was allegedly seen near Mount St. Helens in the 1980s. It resembles a flying primate similar to the Ahu, and its names are derived from bat and Sasquatch. Mongolian deathworm. The Mongolian deathworm is a creature alleged to exist in the Gobi Desert, and it first came to Western attention as a result of Roy Chapman Andrews' book in 1926, in which the American paleontologist described the secondhand tales of the monster that he heard at a gathering of Mongolian officials. None of those present had ever seen the creature, but they all firmly believed in its existence and described it minutely. Enfield Monster. The Enfield Monster refers to reports of an unidentified creature around Enfield, Illinois, United States in April 1973. At about 9:30 on the night of April 25, 1973, Henry McDaniel heard a scratching sound at the front of his door, and when he looked out, he saw something that he thought might be a bear. He took a gun and a flashlight and he headed outside and saw the creature between two rose bushes. He later stated that it had 3 legs on it, a short body, 2 little arms, and 2 pink eyes as big as flashlights. He fired 4 shots at the creature, one hitting it and causing it to make a hissing sound, before fleeing towards a nearby railway embankment covering 50 feet in 3 jumps. McDaniel called local authorities, who discovered the footprints in the soft earth near the house, which McDaniel described as dog-like in shape with 6 toe pads. Flatwoods Monster. The Flatwoods Monster, also known as the Braxton County Monster or Phantom of the Flatwoods, in Western Virginia culture is an entity reported to have been sighted in the town of Flatwoods in Braxton County, West Virginia, United States on September 12, 1952, following the appearance of a bright object crossing the night sky. On September 12, 1952, 2 brothers, Edward and Fred May, and their friend Tommy, said they saw a bright object cross the sky and land on the property of a local farmer. The boys went to the home of Kathleen May, where they told the story, and May, accompanied by 3 boys who were local children, went to the Fisher farm in an effort to locate whatever it was that they were talking about. When the group reached the top of the hill, they saw a pulsing red light, and Lemon said he aimed the flashlight in the direction and momentarily saw a man-like figure with round red face surrounded by a pointed hood-like shape. The figure was described as approximately 10 feet tall with a round blood red face, large pointed hood-like shape around the face, eye-like shapes which emitted a greenish-orange light, and a dark black or green body. Globster. A globster is an unidentified organic mass that washes up on the shoreline of an ocean or other body of water. The globster is distinguished from a normal beach carcass by being hard to identify, at least by initial untrained observers, and by creating controversy as to its identity. Many globsters have initially been described as giant octopi, though they later turned out to be decayed carcasses of whales or large sharks, and there are still many that remain unexplained. Hellhound. A hellhound is a mythological hound which acts as a guardian or servant of hell, the devil, or the underworld. Hellhounds occur in mythologies across the world, with the best known examples being Cerberus from Greek mythology, the black dogs of English folklore, and the fairy hounds of Celtic mythology. Physical characteristics vary, but usually they are black, unnaturally large and strong, and often with glowing red eyes or accompanying flames. Kraken. The Kraken is a colossal, legendary sea monster said to dwell off the coast of Norway and Greenland. In 2012, scientists discovered a giant squid that corresponded to the physical description of the Kraken using deep-sea exploration with special lighting displays designed to attract large predators. The sheer size and fearsome appearance attributed to the Kraken have made it a common ocean-dwelling monster in various fictional works. The legend may have actually originated from the sightings of a real giant squid that variously estimated to grow from 13 to 30 meters or 43 to 100 feet in length, including the tentacles. Loveland Frogman. The Loveland Frog is a legendary humanoid frog that stands at roughly 4 feet tall, allegedly spotted in Ohio in 1972. It originally gained attention when a Loveland police officer reported to a colleague that he had seen an animal consistent with descriptions of the Frogman. Ogopogo. In Canadian folklore, the Ogopogo is a lake monster said to inhabit Okanagan Lake in British Columbia, Canada. The Ogopogo now plays a role in the commercial symbolism and media representation of the region. Its name has various translations such as water demon, water god, or sacred creature of the water. Pope Lick Monster. The Pope Lick Monster is a legendary part man, part goat, part sheep creature reported to live beneath a railroad trestle bridge over Pope Lick Creek in the Fisherville neighborhood of Louisville, Kentucky in the United States. Numerous urban legends exist about the creature's origin and the methods it employs to claim its victims. According to some accounts, the creature uses hypnosis or voice mimicry to lure trespassers onto the trestle to meet their death before an oncoming train. The legends turn the area into a site for legend tripping, and there have been a number of deaths and accidents at the trestle since its construction. It is a common misconception that the trestle is abandoned and no longer used, but in reality, the bridge carries a major rail artery into Louisville, and heavy freight trains cross the bridge several times daily, so it is easy for someone to get caught atop it while an oncoming train barrels down on them. Reptilians. A reptilian is a half-human, half-lizard creature, and they're found in many aspects of mythology and are even at the center of several conspiracy theories involving the government. The most notable theorist, David Icke, claimed that 43 US presidents and the England's Queen Elizabeth are all reptilians. This conspiracy theory poses the belief that there is an entire underworld of lizard people who receive protection from the government and live in the tunnels deep within the Earth's shell. Yowie. Yowie, also known as the Yahoo, Yori, Hairy Man, or Yahoo, is a fanged humanoid marsupial or great ape featured in Aboriginal mythology, along with Australian raptors, bunyips, and Burundjur. The Yowie is considered to be the Australian Bigfoot and contains many primate-like features. It is described as being one of the most aggressive Sasquatch species and has been reported tearing heads off of dogs and kangaroos, and has also been seen attacking humans. Dragon. A dragon is a large serpentine legendary creature that appears in the folklore of many cultures worldwide, and beliefs in dragons vary considerably through regions, but dragons in Western cultures since the High Middle Ages have been depicted as winged, horned, four-legged, and capable of breathing fire. Dragons in Eastern cultures are usually depicted as wingless, four-legged serpentine creatures with above-average intelligence. Draconic creatures appear in virtually all cultures around the globe. Nonetheless, scholars dispute where the idea of a dragon originates from, and a wide variety of hypotheses have been proposed. Hydra. The Hydra is a serpentine water monster in Greek and Roman mythology. In canonical Hydra myth, the monster is killed by Hercules as the second of his 12 labors. The Hydra possessed many heads, the exact number which varies based on legend, and later versions of the Hydra story add a regeneration feature to the monster, being that for every head chopped off, the Hydra would regrow two in its place. Umibozu. Umibozu is a paranormal phenomenon or yokai from Japanese folklore. Little is known about the origin of Umibozu, but it is a sea spirit. They are often a few meters to a few tens of meters in length, so they are seen as quite large, but there are also tales about relatively small ones. Skinwalker. In Navajo culture, a skinwalker is a type of harmful witch that has the ability to turn into, possess, or disguise themselves as an animal. The legend of the skinwalkers is not well understood outside of Navajo culture, mostly due to reluctance to discuss the subject with outsiders, or to discuss it at all among those they do not trust. Centaur. A centaur is a creature from Greek mythology with the upper body of a human and the lower body of legs of a horse. They are also subsequently featured in Roman mythology and were familiar figures in the medieval bestiary, and remain a staple of modern fantastic literature. They are both the embodiment of untamed nature and conversely in wisdom. Dwarves. In Germanic folklore, including Germanic mythology, a dwarf is an entity that dwells in mountains and in the earth. The entity is variously associated with wisdom, smithing, mining, and crafting, and dwarves are sometimes described as being short and ugly, although some scholars have questioned whether this is a later development stemming from comical portrayals of the beings. Gargoyle. In contemporary fiction, gargoyles are typically depicted as a winged humanoid race with demonic features, and gargoyles can generally use their wings to fly or glide and are often depicted as having a rocky hide or being capable of turning into stone, which is a reference to their structural roots. Giant. In folklore, giants are beings of human-like appearance but are at times prodigious in size and strength or bear an otherwise notable appearance. Giants appear in the folklore of cultures worldwide as they represent a relatively simple concept, representing the human body enlarged to the point of being monstrous. They are often portrayed as monsters and antagonists, but there are some exceptions. Gnomes. Garden gnomes are lawn ornament figurines of small humanoid creatures known as gnomes, and traditionally the figurines depict male dwarfs wearing pointy hats, and typically gnomes stand between 1 and 2 feet. Yeah, man, watch out for those gnomes. Watch out. Slenderman. Slenderman is a fictional supernatural character originated as a creepypasta. He is depicted as a thin, unnaturally tall humanoid with a featureless head and face wearing a black suit. Stories of the Slenderman commonly feature him stalking, abducting, or traumatizing people, and particularly taking children. Golems. A golem is an animated anthropomorphic being in Jewish folklore which is entirely created from inanimate matter, usually clay or mud. Many tales differ on how the golem was brought to life and controlled, and it could be a victim or villain, Jew or non-Jew, man or woman, or sometimes both. Griffin. The griffin is a legendary creature with the tail, body, and back legs of a lion, and the head and wings of an eagle, and sometimes an eagle's talons as its front feet. Because the lion was traditionally considered the king of the beasts and the eagle the king of the birds, by the Middle Ages, the griffin was thought to be an especially powerful and majestic creature. And in classical tales, griffins were known for guarding treasures and priceless possessions. In medieval heraldry, the griffin became a Christian symbol of divine power and a guardian of the divine. Krampus. Krampus is a horned anthropomorphic figure in Alpine folklore who during the Christmas season scares children who have misbehaved, assisting Saint Nicholas. The origin of the figure is unclear, and some folklorists and anthropologists have postulated it as having pre-Christian origins. In traditional parades and in such events as the Krampuslauf, young men participate dressed as Krampus and attempt to scare the audience with their antics. Such events occur annually in most Alpine towns, and Krampus is featured on holiday greeting cards called Krampuskarten. Leprechaun. A leprechaun is a diminutive supernatural being in Irish folklore classified as some type of solitary fairy. They're usually depicted as little bearded men wearing a coat and hat who partake in mischief, and in later times they have been depicted as shoemakers who have a hidden pot of gold at the end of a rainbow. Leprechaun-like creatures rarely appear in Irish mythology and only became prominent in later folklore.
Well, just in time for St. Patrick's Day, crowds are coming by the dozens to get an up-close view at what some say is a piece of Irish folklore.
Some people in the Crichton area of Mobile say a leprechaun is taking up residence in their neighborhood. A leprechaun. NBC 15's Brian Johnson has more.
Curiosity leads to large crowds in Mobile's Crichton community, many of you bringing binoculars, camcorders, even camera phones to take pictures.
To me, it look like a leprechaun to me. All I gotta do is look up in the tree. Who else seen the leprechaun? Say yeah! Yeah!
Floridian marine reptiles. Floridian marine reptiles are sea monsters sighted in waters off of Florida in the United States. That was really it. I just like how Florida gets its own little category for sightings because it's Florida. You know how crazy Florida is. And if you're not from America, Florida is a fucking crazy ass state. All right. All the shit goes down in Florida. I'm just going to leave it at that. Trolls. In Scandinavian folklore, Norse mythology, and Old Norse sources, trolls are described as beings that dwell in isolated rocks, mountains, or caves and live together in small family units and are rarely helpful to human beings. Depending on the source, their appearance varies greatly, and trolls may be ugly and slow-witted or look and behave exactly like human beings with no particularly grotesque characteristic about them. Unicorn. The unicorn is a legendary creature that has been described since antiquity as a beast with a single large pointed spiraling horn projected from its forehead. In European literature and art, the unicorn has been depicted as a white horse-like or goat-like animal with a long straight horn with spiraling grooves, cloven hooves, and sometimes a goat's beard. In the encyclopedias, its horn was said to have the power to render poison water drinkable and able to heal sickness. Vampire. A vampire is a creature from folklore that subsists by feeding on the vital essence, generally in the form of blood, of the living. In European folklore, vampires are undead creatures that often visited loved ones and caused mischief or deaths in the neighborhoods they inhabited while they were alive. In modern times, the vampire is generally held to be a fictitious entity, although belief in similar vampiric creatures such as the chupacabra still persists in some cultures. The vampire has since become a dominant figure in the horror genre. They also like baseball. They really, really like baseball. Look, they play baseball. They like baseball. They play it. Look, boom. Jinn. Jinn are supernatural creatures in early pre-Islamic Arabian and later Islamic mythology and theology. In Islamic context, the term jinn is used for both collective designation for any supernatural creature and also refer to a specific type of supernatural creature. Therefore, jinn are often mentioned together with devils and are held responsible for misfortune, possession, and diseases. Leviathan. Leviathan is a creature with the form of a sea serpent in Judaism. The word Leviathan today has come to refer to any sea monster, and from the early 17th century has also been used to refer to overwhelmingly powerful people or things. Roc. The roc is a gargantuan avian from the Middle Eastern legends and has been described as a colossal eagle or hawk-like bird of prey. Usually described as a white or tan-colored bird, its wingspan was reported to be as large as 48 feet and complete with feathers as big as palm leaves. The roc was so big that its eggs were said to be over 150 feet in circumference, and according to Arabic tradition, the creature would only land on the mountain Kaf, the center of the world. Aswang. Aswang is an umbrella term for various shape-shifting evil creatures in Filipino folklore, such as vampires, ghouls, witches, and werebeasts. The Aswang is the subject of a variety of myths, stories, arts, and films, and it is well known throughout the Philippines. Although with no specific motive to harm others, their behavior can be interpreted as an inversion of traditional Filipino values. Bunyip. The bunyip is a creature from Australian Aboriginal mythology said to lurk in swamps, creeks, riverbeds, and waterholes. The word bunyip is usually translated by Aboriginal Australians today as devil or evil spirit. Some modern sources allude to a linguistic connection between the bunyip and the bunjil, which is a mythic great man who made the mountains, rivers, man, and all the animals. Mermaid. In folklore, a mermaid is an aquatic creature with the head and upper body of a female human and the tail of a fish. Mermaids appear in the folklore of many cultures worldwide, including Europe, Asia, and Africa. The male equivalent of the mermaid is the merman, also a familiar figure in folklore and heraldry, although traditions about and sightings of mermen are less common than those of mermaids, and they are generally assumed to coexist with their female counterparts. Ahu. The ahu or athal is a winged cryptid. Some portrayed the creature as a giant bat, while others claim it is a flying primate. It is said to live in the deepest parts of the jungles of Java and can be found across the region of Indonesia. Although it mainly eats local fauna such as large fish, it will opportunistically attack humans, most likely because that the creature is extremely territorial and an opportunist, meaning that it will attack larger prey when the conditions present itself. Air rods. Air rods, also called flying rods or sometimes skyfish, are something like crop circles, and even that skeptics acknowledge their existence. Air rods had never been seen with the live naked eye, but are picked up by cameras and cell phones all around the world. Some theories claim that air rods may not be made of matter, are electromagnetic fluxes or some type of energy, an undiscovered fifth phase of matter, evolved organisms, or just condensed strings. I don't know. Alaskan ice monster. This one's just a short video about an icy looking creature swimming in a river in Alaska, and had many people asking if there could be an ice monster similar to the Scotland's Loch Ness monster. Phantom cats. Phantom cats, also known as alien big cats, are large felines such as leopards, jaguars, and cougars, which allegedly appear in regions outside their indigenous range. Sightings, tracks, and predation have been reported in a number of countries, in states including Canada, Britain, Australia, Germany, France, Spain, Switzerland, Ireland, New Zealand, Finland, Denmark, and the United States, Hawaii, Italy, and Luxembourg. Tsuchinoko. In Japanese folklore, the Tsushinoko literally translates to child of hammer, which is a snake-like being. Tsuchinoko are described as being between 30 and 80 centimeters in length, similar to an appearance of a snake, but with a central girth that is much wider than its head or tail, and also having fangs and venom similar to that of a viper. Mokele Mbembe. The Mokele Mbembe, which stands for the one who stops the flow of rivers, is a water-dwelling entity that supposedly lives in the Congo River basin, sometimes described as a living creature and sometimes as a spirit. Those that heard or allegedly saw the entity describe it as a large herbivore with smooth skin, a long neck, a single tooth, and sometimes there's said to be a horn. Pennsylvania White Bigfoot. The Pennsylvania White Bigfoot is a creature that was first seen in Blakesley, Pennsylvania in 1970. A witness claimed it was between 6 to 7 feet tall with a broad chest, long neck, and dirty white fur. And in 2008, a video surfaced on YouTube that was dubbed the Pennsylvania White Bigfoot clip, which was taken in Carbondale, Pennsylvania. And for many years, the residents of Carbondale have reported some bizarre sightings of the White Bigfoot. Homunculus. A homunculus is a representation of a small human being popularized in the 16th century alchemy and 19th century fiction. The term is also used for an image of a person with the size of the body parts distorted to represent how much of the area of the cerebral cortex of the brain is devoted to it. For example, the legs are small, but the mouth and hands are large. Bear Lake Monster. The Bear Lake Monster is a being appearing in folklore near Bear Lake on the Utah-Idaho border. The myth originally grew from articles written in the 19th century about a Mormon settler in the area reporting secondhand accounts of sightings of the creature from Native Americans that lived in the area. And the last reported sighting of the monster was in 2002. Beast of Bray Road. The Beast of Bray Road is a perpetuated humanoid wolf-like creature allegedly witnessed in or near the rural community of Walworth County, Wisconsin. The Beast of Bray Road is most often described by alleged witnesses as large, between 6 feet and 7 feet tall, with a humanoid body style covered in fur or hair, and with a head resembling a wolf or bear, and is said to have been seen moving as both a quadruped and biped, and some reports describe it more closely resembling a traditional werewolf or Bigfoot. Alright, moving on, we got tier 2. Let's get it. Let's go. Let's fucking go, bro. Greys. Gray aliens, also referred to as Zeta Reticulans, Roswell Greys, or Greys, are extraterrestrial beings. According to journalist C.D.B. Bryan, 73% of all reported alien encounters in the United States describe gray aliens, which is a significantly higher proportion than other countries. Such claims vary widely, but typically grays are described as being human-like with small bodies, with smooth gray-colored skin, enlarged hairless heads, and large black eyes. Wendigo. Wendigo is a mythological creature or evil spirit which originates from the folklore of First Nations based in and around the East Coast forests of Canada, the Great Plains region of the United States, and the Great Lakes region of the United States and Canada. The Wendigo is often said to be a malevolent spirit, sometimes depicted as a creature with human-like characteristics which possesses human beings. The Wendigo is known to invoke feelings of insatiable greed, hunger, and the desire to cannibalize other humans, as well as the propensity to commit murder in those that fall under its influence. Bessie. Oh my god. Bessie, the Lake Erie monster, is reported to be a snake-like creature measuring 30 to 40 feet in length, and the body is estimated to be a foot in diameter, and the skin is grayish in color. Various sightings of the creature report from 1793 to present, with the earliest report describing the creature much like the description, and the event took place in Sandusky, Ohio, when the captain of the Felicity stated that they were shooting at ducks when they startled the creature. The bloop. The bloop was an ultra-low frequency, high amplitude, and underwater sound detected by the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and yeah, here it is. Just listen. Listen. Champ, also known as the Lake Champlain monster, is a lake monster cryptid from Lake Champlain, America. A lot of people hypothesize, due to the large system of underwater caves stretching at the bottom of Lake Champlain, that a large creature could remain hidden from modern science for hundreds of years. Amamongo. In Philippine folklore, the Amamongo is a creature described as a hairy man-sized ape with long nails. The name Amamongo has been translated to mean the word gorilla, though this is not a native animal to their region. Some compare the creature to other ape-like cryptids around the world such as Bigfoot or the Yeti, though the scientific community holds that it is just a legend mixed with a mistaken identity. Snallygaster. In American folklore, the snallygaster is a bird reptile chimera originating in the superstitions of early German immigrants, later combined with the sensationalistic newspaper reports of the monster. Devil monkeys. There have been reports of devil monkeys, which are large, baboon-like primates that are now being spotted in the woodland areas of Flagstaff, Arizona. These so-called creatures are called devil monkeys in other places of the United States, and there have been alleged sightings in other states such as New Mexico, Utah, and Colorado. Deloy's ape. Louis Francois Fernand Hector Delois was a Swiss oil geologist. He is remembered today for the claim that he discovered a previously unknown primate, also known as Delois ape, during a 1920 oil survey expedition in Venezuela. The identity of the animal he photographed has long been established with a considerable confidence to be a spider monkey, and the identification as a new species was generally regarded as a hoax. Dodo. The dodo is an extinct flightless bird that was endemic to the island of Mauritius, east of Madagascar in the Indian Ocean. Subfossil remains show that the dodo was about 3 feet 3 inches tall and may have weighed about 23 to 39 pounds in the wild. The dodo's appearance in life is evidenced by only drawings, paintings, and written accounts from the 17th century. Its exact appearance in life remains unresolved. Fiji mermaid. The Fiji mermaid was an object composed of the torso and head of a juvenile monkey sewn to the back half of a fish. It was a common feature of sideshows where it was presented as the mummified body of a creature that was supposedly half mammal, half fish. Ghosts. In folklore, a ghost is the soul or spirit of a dead person or animal that can appear to the living. Descriptions of ghosts vary widely from an invisible presence to translucent or barely visible wispy shapes. Other terms associated with it are apparition, haunt, phantom, poltergeist, shade, specter, spirit, spook, wraith, demons, and ghouls. Giant anaconda. The giant anaconda is an exaggerated version of the already monstrous anacondas living in South America. Pound for pound, the largest snake species in the world is the green anaconda. The largest green anaconda on record is 29 feet long and weighs 550 pounds. Still, giant anacondas dwarf even the largest green anaconda on record, and the giants top the scale of 165 feet long. Injured Cold. Injured Cold, commonly known as a smiling man, was an allegedly humanoid entity, and his name comes from his tendency to smile at those who encounter him. It is also believed that he is connected with the Men in Black, and in the first sighting he was described as being over 6 feet tall, wearing a reflective green suit with a black belt. And according to reports, Injured Cold came from a planet named Lanulos in the Ganymedes galaxy, and that there were 2 other grinning men by the names of Demo Hassan and Carl Ardo. Tree creeper. Tree creepers are dinosaurs that lived in the Cretaceous Africa. They are very deadly, climbing above their prey and constricting it with their tail, similar to modern day boa constrictors. They have a primate-like body and have a sort of language, making it likely that they could have become sapient. However, the KT extinction kept them from evolving further. Kappa. Kappa are legendary creatures found in Japanese folklore, and kappa are typically depicted as roughly humanoid in form and about the size of a child. Their scaly reptilian skin ranges in color from green to yellow or blue. Despite the reptilian features, kappa are said to have ape-like faces and scraggly green hair. They supposedly inhabit the ponds and rivers of Japan and have various features to aid them in this environment, such as webbed hands and feet, and sometimes are said to smell like fish and most certainly swim like them. The most notable feature is an indentation on top of their head that holds water, called sara. This cavity must be full whenever a kappa is away from the water, and if it spills, the kappa will be unable to move. Kasai Rex. The Kasai Rex is a gigantic theropod cryptid from the Democratic Republic of Congo. It is said to be a surviving species of the theropod dinosaur, such as the Tyrannosaurus rex, and has also been depicted as a species of huge monitor lizard, as well as species of terrestrial crocodile. Apparently there was a photo taken of it, but a lot of people believe the photo was faked, and yeah. Lizard man of scape or swamp. The lizard man of scape or swamp is an entity said to inhabit the swampland of the region. First mentioned in the late 1980s. A lot of people claim that the case is just mass hysteria, but yeah. Badajoz UFO creature. The Badajoz UFO incident refers to the events that happened at the dawn of November 12th, 1965, at the Talavera La Real Air Base, located in Badajoz, Spain. Two soldiers, Jose Maria Trejo and Juan Carrizosa, claimed to have seen and shot a being of unknown origin. The being was very tall, about 3 meters, and seemed to be formed of small light points, and the brightness was more intense along its edges. The head was small and covered by something resembling a helmet, and the arms were long and were crossed, and there was no sight of either hands or feet. Montauk Monster. The Montauk Monster was an animal carcass that washed ashore on a beach near the business district of Montauk, New York in July 2008. The identity of the creature and the veracity of stories surrounding it have been the subject of controversy and speculation, and the national media picked up on it, raising speculation about the creature. Mammoth. A mammoth is any species of the extinct elephantid genus Mammuthus, and the various species of mammoth were commonly equipped with long, curved tusks, and in northern species, a covering of long hair. The oldest representative of mammoth appeared around 5 million years ago during the early Pliocene era in what is now southern and eastern Africa. Hopkinsville Goblin. The Hopkinsville Goblin was a claimed close encounter with extraterrestrial beings in 1955 near Kelly and Hopkinsville. Basically, on August 21st, 1955, 5 adults and 7 children arrived at the Hopkinsville Police Department, claiming that small alien creatures from a spaceship were attacking their farmhouse and they had been holding them off with gunfire for nearly 4 hours. The family's claims received widespread coverage in a local and national press, and early articles did not refer to little green men, and the color was added to them in other newspaper stories. Estimates of the size of the alleged creatures varied from 2 to 4 feet, and details such as large pointed ears, claw-like hands, eyes that glowed like yellow, and spindly legs later appeared in various media. Mantis Man. The Mantis Man was an insectoid cryptid reportedly sighted near Hackettstown, New Jersey by 2 unrelated fishermen. The creature was described as standing at about 7 feet high, having mandibles and large, intense black eyes. One observer described the creature as fading as it moved up the riverbank where it was spotted, leading to speculation that perhaps the beast was using camouflage and blending into its surroundings. Ninjin. In modern Japanese folklore, the ninjin is an aquatic humanoid creature reported to inhabit subarctic oceans. The legend surrounding the ninjin began on a forum post in the Japanese online forum website 2channel, which claims that the members of a whale research ship witnessed the creature as it surfaced near their ship off the Antarctic coast. The ninjin is described as a whale creature but has anatomical similarities to humans, and the creature has a face, and in some stories it is said to have extremely large limbs and or arms and hands, about 20 to 30 meters long. Owlman. In Cornish folklore, the Owlman is an owl-like creature said to have been seen in 1976 in the village of Maunan, United Kingdom. 2 young girls saw a large winged creature hovering above the tower of St. Minoan and St. Stephen's Church on April 17, 1976. Pacific Northwest tree octopus. This wasn't literally, it was a prank. It was a creature that was said to live on both land and water, and so basically they made up this creature, made up a website with the information on this creature, and they showed it to like this school of kids, and a study found that only 6 out of 53 kids that viewed the website said that it was unreliable. The rest of them fucking believed it. It was this dick move, bro. Dick move. Minnesota Dogman. The Minnesota Dogman is an alleged cryptid sighted in various Minnesota counties. Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl is a deity in Aztec culture and literature whose name means precious serpent. Among the Aztecs, Quetzalcoatl was related to the gods of the wind, of the planet Venus, of merchants and arts, crafts, and knowledge. He was also the patron god of the Aztec priesthood of learning and knowledge, and Quetzalcoatl was one of the several important gods in the Aztec pantheon. Sentient scarecrow. This is a simple one. It's a living scarecrows, man. They're gonna get you. They're gonna fucking get you. Skunk ape. Skunk ape, known as the swamp ape in Florida Bigfoot and American folklore, is an ape-like creature that is said to inhabit the forests and swamps of southeastern United States, most notably in Florida. Spring-heeled jack. Spring-Heeled Jack is an entity in the English folklore of the Victorian era, and the first claimed sighting of Spring-Heeled Jack was in 1837. Spring-Heeled Jack was described by people who claimed to have seen him as having a terrifying, frightful appearance, with a diabolical build, clawed hands, and eyes that resembled red balls of fire. One report claimed that beneath a black cloak, he wore a helmet and tight-fitting garnet like oilskin. Many stories also mention a devil-like aspect. Others said he was tall and thin, with the appearance of a gentleman, and several reports mention that he could breathe out blue and white flames and that he wore sharp metallic claws at his fingertips. Werewolves. Now just turn to page 394. Oh, that was bad. That was bad. In folklore, a werewolf, contraction of the Anglo-Saxon word were, meaning man, wolf, man, and wolf. Okay. It is a human with the ability to shapeshift into a wolf, either purposely or having been placed under a curse or affliction, with the transformations occurring on the night of a full moon. The werewolf is a widespread concept in European folklore, existing in many variants, which are related by common development of Christian interpretation of underlying European folklore developed during the medieval period. White River Monster. In Arkansas folklore, the White River Monster is a large creature which was first spotted off the banks of White River near Newport in northeastern Arkansas. Sightings for the monster began in 1915, and on July 1st of that year, an owner of a plantation near the rivers saw the monster. He reported it as having gray skin and as wide as a car and 3 cars long. Phoenix. The phoenix is a long-lived immortal bird associated with Greek mythology that continually regenerates or is otherwise born again. Associated with the sun, a phoenix obtains new life by arising from the ashes of its predecessor, and some legends say it dies in a show of flames and combustion, and others say that it simply dies and decomposes before being born again. 50-foot Congo snake. Now this is just an alleged 1959 sighting. Yeah, here's the photo, man. Here's the photo. Ancient astronauts. Ancient astronauts are hypothesized intelligent extraterrestrial beings that visited Earth and made contacts with humans in prehistoric times. Proponents suggest that this contact influenced the development of modern cultures, technologies, religions, and human biology. A common position is that deities, for most if not all religions, are extraterrestrial in origin, and that advanced technologies brought to Earth by ancient astronauts were interpreted as evidence of divine status by early humans. Man-eating tree. The man-eating tree can refer to any of the various legendary carnivorous plants large enough to kill and consume a person or large animal. Doppelganger. A doppelganger is a cryptid that originated in Germany but has also spread throughout the world. The word doppelganger literally means double goer. A doppelganger is essentially an evil twin, and it goes around to your friends and relatives, confusing them. They think it's you, so they can easily mess up your life, and they can also end it, as seeing your own doppelganger signifies death. In other words, if you see your doppelganger, you die. Eureka monster. The Eureka monster is said to be a large surviving monster that inhabits the vast Atacama Desert of Chile, South America. It has descriptions of that of a kangaroo and dromaeosaur, and is also described as a dinosaur-like bird. Ghoul. A ghoul is a demon-like being or monstrous humanoid originating in pre-Islamic Arabian religion. In modern fiction, the term has often been used for a certain kind of undead monster. By extension, the word ghoul is also used in derogatory sense to refer to a person who delights in the macabre or whose profession is linked directly to death, such as a grave digger or grave robber. Okapi. The okapi, also known as the forest giraffe, is a mammal that is endemic to the Northeast Democratic Republic of the Congo in Central Africa. Although the okapi has striped markings reminiscent of a zebra's, it is most closely related to the giraffe. It stands about 4.9 feet tall at the shoulder and has typically a body length around 8.2 feet. It has a long neck and large flexible ears, and its coat is chocolate to reddish brown, much in contrast with the white horizontal stripes and rings on his legs and white ankles. And the International Union for the Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources classifies the okapi as an endangered species. Wanderlight. Wanderlights are atmospheric ghost lights seen by travelers at night. often in swamps, but some reports are also speaking of Wonderlight sightings on graveyards. Apparently it looks like a low hovering orb of light, and it is known to recede when approached, leading the travelers away from safe paths. There are many other names for Wonderlights, including Will-o'-the-wisps and Hinky Punk, and many more. Yeren. The Yeren is a cryptid ape-man reported to inhabit remote mountainous regions of China. Generally, they are described as savage, strong, and fast-moving, living in mountain caves and descending only to raid villages for food or for people to wed or rape. Ifrit. Ifrit, also known as Ifrit, Afrit, and Afrit, is a powerful type of demon in Islamic mythology. They are often associated with the underworld and also identified with the spirits of the dead, and have been compared to evil in European culture. Beast of Exmoor. In British folklore, the Beast of Exmoor, also known as the Exmoor Beast, is a phantom cat said to roam the fields of Exmoor in Devon and Somerset in the United Kingdom. Sightings were first reported in the 1970s, although it became notorious in 1983 when a South Molton farmer claimed to have lost over 100 sheep in the span of 3 months, all of them apparently killed by violent throat injuries. It has been suggested that the beast may possibly be a cougar or black leopard, which was released from a private collection sometime between the 1960s or 1970s. However, considering that the cougar and leopard lifespans are around 12 to 15 years, this is unlikely, as reports have still been made up to 2006. Santer. The Santer, also referred to as the Wampus, is a mysterious feline reported below the Mason-Dixon line and is commonly seen in western North Carolina. It is rarely dangerous to mankind, but frequently a predator to livestock. It is said to have had a long body covered with reddish, sometimes gray hair, and its head is large and bald with small eyes. Alien spores. Now, this was just like a group of mysterious orange goo that appeared on the shore of an Alaskan village and was found several miles inland of freshwater Woolwich River. The orange material turned gooey and gave off a gaseous odor, and apparently felt like baby oil. Atmospheric beasts. Atmospheric beasts are the strangest of flying monsters from UFOlogy, cryptozoology, and astrobiology. According to eyewitness reports, these beings are apparently living creatures, but they break all the usual rules that biologists apply to living organisms, as they appear to be able to levitate without any need for wings, as well as their bodies are even depicted on a semi-solid, often partially invisible state. Alright, next up, we're moving on to tier 3. Let's get it. I'm tired as fuck, but you know what? We're gonna record this in one sitting. I don't give a shit. Wampus cat. The Wampus cat is a cat-like creature in American folklore that varies widely in appearance, ranging from frightful to comical depending on region. It is a creature heard whining about camps at night, a mythical green-eyed cat having occult powers, or an undefined imaginary animal. In Cherokee mythology, the monster is the cat-like embodiment of a female onlooker cursed by tribal elders as punishment for hiding beneath the pelt of a wild cat to witness a sacred ceremony. Cthulhu. Cthulhu is a fictional cosmic entity created by writer H.P. Lovecraft and is depicted as a gigantic entity worshipped by cultists in a shape like a green octopus, dragon, and a caricature of a human form. Its name was given to the Lovecraft-inspired universe, the Cthulhu mythos, where it exists with fellow entities. Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga is a man of focus, sheer fucking will. Baba Yaga is a supernatural being who appears as a deformed or ferocious-looking old woman. And in Slavic culture, Baba Yaga lived in a hut usually described as standing on chicken legs. Baba Yaga may help or hinder those that encounter her or seek her out, and she plays a maternal role and has associations with the forest wildlife. Her depictions vary greatly across tales, ranging from a child-eating monster to helping a protagonist find his missing bride. Van Meter Visitor. On October 1903, several respected members of the community told of a mysterious half-animal, half-winged human that terrorized the town and some of the town's residents during several nights in a course of a week. Descriptions of the beast suggested that it had large bat-like wings, left a terrible stench wherever it went, and even stranger, fired beams of bright light from its forehead. There were accounts that several of the locals attempted to shoot at the beast, but their gunfire didn't have any effect, and it disappeared into a mine and was never seen again. Atmospheric jellyfish. Atmospheric jellyfish are just flying jellyfish that have been sighted floating in the atmosphere, and they're also like a type of UFO. Avians. Avians or avian humanoids are a common motif in mythology, folklore, and in popular fiction. The term avians actually usually refers to an alleged alien species. Barnacle tree. The barnacle tree was a mythical tree believed in the Middle Ages to have barnacles that opened to reveal baby geese. Apparently, the mussel-shaped shells would grow until they split open, revealing the legs of a bird hanging out, till later on the length of the rest of the bird would be shown after emerging. The bird would then hang by its bill until fully mature, and then would drop into the sea, where it would grow feathers and would become bigger than a mallard and lesser than a goose. Black-eyed children. Black-eyed children are an American contemporary urban legend of paranormal creatures that resemble children between ages 6 and 16 with pale skin and black eyes who were reportedly seen hitchhiking or begging or encountered on doorsteps of residential homes. They only appear at night and to unsuspecting adults alone in parking lots and their homes, and they come in groups of 2 or more and often ask for favors. The key here is not to let them in your house if it's not obvious, but no one really knows where they come from. They are seen as extraterrestrial, UFO-related, vampires, and of course, demons. Black stickmen. Black stickmen are a relatively recent phenomenon, and people across the globe have claimed to have seen these two-dimensional-like pitch-black beings, and they appear to be two-dimensional. Their appearance is always like sideways, and their appearance always looks the same no matter what angle they're seen at. Barmanu. The Barmanu is a bipedal humanoid primate cryptid which allegedly inhabits the mountainous regions of northern Pakistan, and shepherds living in the mountains have reported sightings. It is the Pakistani equivalent to Bigfoot, and the Barmanu allegedly possesses both human and ape-like characteristics and has a reputation for abducting women and attempting to mate with them. And depending on where the stories come from, it tends to be either described as an ape or wild man. Dark fairy. In Norse mythology, dark fairies are fairies that or elves that dwell within the earth, and yeah. Men in Black. The Men in Black are usually strangers dressed in black suits who threaten UFO witnesses into silence. They also harass witnesses to other paranormal events to keep them quiet about what they have seen, and some reports mention that they also guard private areas in the Appalachian mountain chain. They usually travel in a group of 3 in black vehicles, and most reports are of cars, but some reports mention SUVs. And one woman even claimed that the Men in Black took part of her memory. Metal Man. In Falkville, Alabama, October 17, 1973, a spaceship was spotted out in a field, and when the authorities got involved, the chief, Jeff Greenshaw, didn't see a spaceship, but instead he saw what he claimed to be an alien. The tinfoil alien was in a clad suit fabricated from similar to thick aluminum foil and as smooth as glass. Its movements were childlike or even monkey-like, but at the same time very robotic and mechanical, and there appeared to be no separation between the neck and head. Within the months of revealing his bizarre encounter, the chief of police was terminated by the city council, his marriage fell apart, and his house was burned to the ground. Pretty shitty, man. Flying horse. A UFO resembling a flying horse was spotted close to one of Mexico's most active volcanoes. The dark object appeared to have 2 legs and was seen hovering in the view out of nowhere as volcano Colima, 300 miles west of Mexico City, spewed out smoke. Cameron Village Sewer Blob. In April 2009, the South Carolina-based Malphris Construction was contracted to send a high-tech robotic surveillance camera into the sewer pipes beneath Cameron Village in Raleigh. The purpose of this mission was to check the infrastructure of the sewer lines. Beyond the decaying concrete, they ended up discovering a unidentified, undeniably grotesque blob attached to the sewer wall, and locals quickly dubbed the bizarre phenomena the Cameron Village Sewer Blob. Michigan Dogman. In Michigan folklore, the Michigan Dogman was allegedly witnessed in 1887 in Wexford County, Michigan. The creature is described as being 7 feet tall, blue-eyed or amber-eyed, bipedal canine-like animal with the torso of a man and fearsome howl that sounds like a human scream. According to legends, the Michigan Dogman appears in a 10-year cycle that falls on years ending in 7. Titusville Mystery Creature. Now this is just about the shriveled up remains of a mysterious 4-legged creature that was found on a property in Titusville. The woman snapped a photograph and posted on social media saying, "I found this in my yard. Has anyone seen this thing or know what it could be?" Measuring approximately 3 feet in length, the 4-legged creature appears to be mostly shriveled up in the hot sun. However, it is still possible to make out a couple of its features. Ahizadal. The Ahizadal is a legendary creature in Aztec mythology, and it is said to lure people into their deaths. The conquistador Hernan Cortez once reported to the king of Castile that one of his men had been killed by an alizado. The creature is described as being the size of a small dog with waterproof fur, and its name comes from the propensity of its fur to spike when it leaves the water. Orange alligator. This was an alleged photograph that showed an orange alligator in Florida, of course, fucking Florida. Wildlife officials who saw the image claimed that the gator was unlikely naturally orange, and it was believed that it was orange from paint, stain, iron oxide, or some other element in the environment that left the coating on its animal make it appear orange. Sewer gator. Sewer alligator stories date back to the late 1920s and early 1930s, and in most instances are part of contemporary legend. They are based on alligator sightings in rather unorthodox locations, particularly in New York City. It's just kind of like an urban legend. Hook Island Sea Monster. The Hook Island Sea Monster, also known as the tadpole creature, is a name given to a 90-foot sea monster sighted off the coast of Hook Island. It resembles a giant black sperm, has a gaping mouth with small teeth and eyes on the top of its head. Colossal squid. The colossal squid, also known as the Antarctic squid or giant crunch squid, is believed to be the largest squid species in terms of mass. The species is confirmed to reach a mass of 1,000 pounds, though the largest ones are around 1,300 to 1,500 pounds, and the maximum total length has been measured to be 30 to 33 feet. Organism 46B. The creature designated Organism 46B was an aquatic beast allegedly captured by a Russian scientific team near the research outpost of Vostok Station. Apparently, the beast had the ability to shapeshift and even took the form of a human diver, in which the Russians thought it was one of their colleagues swimming towards them in scuba gear, and by the time it had gotten close to the group, it grabbed one of the colleagues and tore him to bits. After finally trapping it in a tank, the surviving members of the team brought it to the surface, where they claim Russian officials seized the beast and told the international press that nothing had been found. Pukwudgie. A pukwudgie is a human-like creature found in Delaware and Wampanoag folklore, said to be 2 to 3 feet tall, and according to legend, pukwudgies can appear and disappear at will, lure people to their deaths, use magic, launch poison arrows, and create fire. Native Americans believe that pukwudgies were once friendly to humans, but then turned against them, and are best left alone. According to lore, a person who annoyed a pukwudgie would be subject to nasty tricks by it, or subject to being followed by the pukwudgie, who would cause trouble for them. They are known to kidnap people, push them off cliffs, attack their victims with short knives and spears, and use sand to blind their victims. Elves. An elf is a type of humanoid supernatural being in Germanic mythology and folklore, and in medieval Germanic-speaking cultures, elves generally seem to have been thought as beings with magical powers and supernatural beauty. Christmas elves are popular, also the popularized version of the elf in J.R.R. Tolkien's novels, and yeah, elves remain a prominent feature of fantasy books and games nowadays. Grassman. The Grassman is a tall bipedal hominid that stalks the woods of Ohio, and it is reportedly similar to Bigfoot. It seems that it is much more aggressive than any other Sasquatch species, and the Grassman gets its name from the small hut-like living structures or nests that it builds out of tall grass. Kitsune. In Japanese folklore, kitsune are intelligent foxes that possess paranormal abilities that increase as they get older and wiser. According to yokai folklore, all foxes have the ability to shapeshift into human form. While some folk tales speak of kitsune employing this ability to trick others, as foxes in folklore often do, other stories portray them as faithful guardians, friends, and lovers. Ogre. An ogre is a legendary monster, usually depicted as a large, hideous, man-like being that eats ordinary human beings, especially infants and children. Ogres frequently feature in mythology, folklore, and fiction around the world, and they appear in many classic works of literature and are most often associated in fairy tales and legend with a taste for infants. They are depicted as inhumanly tall and having a disproportionately large head, abundant hair, unusually colored skin, and a ferocious appetite and a strong body. They're closely linked with giants and with human cannibals in mythology. Siren. In Greek mythology, the sirens were dangerous creatures who lured nearby sailors with their enchanting music and singing voices to shipwreck on the rocky coast of their island. It was also said that they can even charm the winds. Charlie. In Idaho folklore, Charlie is the name given to a sea serpent, much like the Loch Ness Monster, that is believed by some to live in the deep alpine waters of Payette Lake near McCall, Idaho. The first reference to the sea serpent may be the belief of Native Americans predating Western settlement in the area that an evil spirit dwelled in the lake. Sheepsquatch. Sheepsquatch, also known as the White Thing, is a woolly-haired cryptid reported across numerous counties in West Virginia, predominantly within the southwestern region of the state. It is described as being a quadruped about the size of a bear with entirely white wool-like fur, and has a long and pointed head similar to a dog, but with long, saber-like teeth and a single pint set of horns, not dissimilar from those found on a young goat. Bahamut. Bahamut is a sea monster that lies deep below, underpinning the support structure that holds up the earth, according to Hebrew legend. In this conception of the world, the earth is shouldered by an angel who stands on a slab of gemstone, which is supported by a cosmic beast or an ox, and the fish, or Bahamut, carries this bull on his back and is suspended in water for its own stability. Caro Azul Monster. A group of 4 teenagers aged between 14 and 16 claimed that they were playing near a cave in Caro Azul when a creature emerged, and they say that it approached them, and them, fearing for their safety, attacked the creature with sticks, killing it. They then threw the corpse into a pool of water before leaving the area, and they later returned, taking photographs of the creature's corpse. The creature's corpse was recovered 4 days later after the encounter, and a biopsy was performed, and concluded that the corpse was a brown-throated sloth, which was a common species in the area. Chilean blob. The Chilean blob was a large mass of tissue that washed up on Pinuno Beach in Chile 2003, and it weighed 13 tons and measured 12 meters across. It made headlines because scientists were unable to identify it until June 2004, when scientists confirmed it as a rotting corpse of a sperm whale. Cyclops shark. Cyclops shark was discovered by Enrique Lucero Leon and was instantly regarded as a cryptid and or hoax. The captured 22-inch long shark fetus had a single eye at the front of his head, which hallmarked the disease of cyclopia. Sharks exhibiting cyclopia have been documented by scientists a few times before, although only as embryos. Although the creature is unfortunately not a rare and unique species of shark, it is a rare and unique example of one of the rarest and least understood conditions in animals. Manipogo. In Canadian folklore, the Manipogo is a lake monster said to live in Lake Manitoba in Canada, and the creature was dubbed Manipogo in 1960. The monster is described as being from 13 to 49 feet long, with a long, muddy brown body with humps that show above the water and a sheep-like head. Platypus. So the platypus, man, it's the platypus. It's a weird animal. It's a weird, cute animal, man. Yeti crab. The Yeti crab is an unusual hairy crab with no eyes that was discovered in 2005 near Easter Island. It represents not only a new species but a new genus, Kiwa, after the mythological Polynesian goddess of shellfish. The rake. The rake is often described as abnormally tall, skinny, where it looks malnourished, and has round eyes that are so dark it appears that you are staring into a black abyss. This cryptid is hairless and has skin with grayish pigment, and the rake is a bipedal cryptid. However, sometimes it crawls on all fours. Ropin. The ropin, meaning demon flyer, is thought to be a big bat on New Guinea Island and is said to produce a light, possibly to attract fish. It is reported to have a wingspan anywhere from 12 to 100 feet. Drop bear. The drop bear is an imaginary animal commonly spoken about in tall tales designed to scare tourists. While koalas are typically docile herbivores, drop bears are described as unusually large and vicious marsupials that inhabit treetops and attack unsuspecting people or prey that walk beneath them by dropping onto their heads from above. Komodo dragon. The Komodo dragon is a member of the monitor lizard family and is endemic to the Indonesian islands of Komodo, Rinca, Flores, and Gili Motang. It is the largest extant species of lizard, going to a maximum length of 10 feet and weighing up to approximately 150 pounds. As a result of their size, Komodo dragons are apex predators and dominate the ecosystems in which they live. Orang-Udang. Orang-Udang is a cryptid from Sumatra, Indonesia, and it is said that this creature is believed to be an Indonesian Bigfoot because of its shared characteristics. They are said to stand between 7 to 12 feet tall and are covered with dark bushy hair, and sightings have been reported for centuries in the forests of Sumatra and Malaya. Australian dinosaur. Australotitan cooperensis is a new species confirmed by paleontologists in Australia and is the biggest dinosaur discovered in Australia. It was a confirmed discovery of Australia's largest dinosaur species ever found. Ucumar. The Ucumar, sometimes called the Uku or Ucumar zupai, is a Sasquatch from Argentina. It is a hairy mammalian ape-like beast similar to the Sasquatch and Yeti, and this mysterious creature terrorized many areas of Argentina and Chile. Alright, next up we got Tier 4. Minerva Monster. This is another Bigfoot type creature that lurks in Ohio near Minerva, and it was first spotted by the Caton family in the late 1970s when they followed the sound of their barking dogs into a pit on their property where they disposed of trash, and inside the pit they found a massive 7-foot tall 300-pound creature covered in fur staring at them as they approached. The creature returned to the family's property so often that it was witnessed by several other friends and family members and even investigated by the sheriff. During the creature's final appearance at the property, 2 creatures were spotted and left after they were pelted by several rocks. Altamahaha or Alti is a legendary creature alleged to inhabit the myriad small streams and abandoned rice fields near the mouth of the Altamaha River in southeastern Georgia. Largoflot worm. In Icelandic folklore, the Largoflot worm is a lake monster said to live in Largofla, a lake by the town of Agistor. The monster was seen in the lake in 1749 to 1750, and the media have reported sightings in the 20th and 21st century, including a 2012 video supposedly showing the creature swimming. Grunch Road Monster. The Grunch Road Monster is an alleged chupacabra sighting in New Orleans, and is described to be an elaborate cross between a canine and reptilian chupacabra. Giant grasshoppers. They're like grasshoppers, but they're giant. Miami Beach Scorpion. The Miami Beach Scorpion is a large scorpion-like animal seen off of Miami Beach in Florida. Apparently it could be a surviving Eurypterid, which is a gigantic sea scorpion that ruled the sea before the first jawed fish evolved. Cockatrice. A cockatrice is a mythical beast, essentially a 2-legged dragon or serpent-like creature with a rooster's head. It was featured prominently in English thought and myth for centuries, and the cockatrice has the reputed ability to kill people by either looking at them, touching them, or sometimes breathing on them. It was also thought that cockatrice would die instantly upon hearing a rooster crow, and according to legend, having a cockatrice look at itself in the mirror is one of the few surefire ways to kill it. Thetis Lake Monster. The Thetis Lake Monster is a legendary creature in British Columbia, Canada, and in 1972, 2 teenage boys claimed to see a monster emerge from Thetis Lake Beach, and the description of the creature that their teenagers gave matched the description of the gill man from the 1954 movie Creature from the Black Lagoon. Direwolf. The direwolf is an extinct canine and one of the most famous prehistoric carnivores in North America, along with its extinct competitor Smilodon. The direwolf lived in the Americas and Eastern Asia during the late Pleistocene and early Holocene epochs, about 125,000 to 9,500 years ago. Alright, I'm not even gonna lie, I'm fucking tired. I tried. It's like 3 a.m. now. It's been like 4 or 5 hours. But I've gotten like halfway through. I'm at like page 70 of 177. Anyways, I'll see you tomorrow. It's going to be in like 1 second. Good night. Love you. All right. Next up, we got Man Bear Pig. And Man Bear Pig is a half man, half bear, and half pig, or is it like a half bear, half man pig, or half pig, half man bear? And Man Bear Pig wanders the earth, randomly killing everybody he sees. According to Al Gore, he is the single biggest threat to humanity today. Moon-Eyed People. The Moon-Eyed People are a legendary group of people who are said to have lived in Appalachia until the Cherokee expelled them, and stories about them attributed to Cherokee tradition are mentioned by early European settlers in America. And in a 1797 book, it explains that they are called moon-eyed because they saw poorly during the day, and later stories about the people add additional details, saying that they had white skin, they created the area's pre-Columbian ruins, and they completely disappeared from the area. Sources disagree to the accuracies of the stories on whether they actually existed or were mythical, whether they were indigenous peoples or early European explorers, and whether or not they built certain prehistoric structures found in the region. Hudson River Monster. In New York folklore, the Hudson River Monster, or Kipsy, is the name given to a supposed lake monster living in the Hudson River. And yeah. That's pretty much it. It's ranked number 17 on the list of lake monsters in the United States. Hippogriff. The hippogriff is a legendary creature with the front half of an eagle and the hind half of a horse, and the creature is a steed born of a mare and griffin and something considered impossible. It's extremely fast and is presented as being able to fly around the world and to the moon. Sometimes depicted on coats of arms, the hippogriff became a subject of visual art in the 19th century. Haimushi. Haimushi is one of the 63 creepy germs written in the Harikiki Gaki, which is a book of medical knowledge written in 1568 by an unknown resident of Osaka, and the tiny malevolent creature is believed to have caused human illnesses in the 16th century in Japan. Apparently, it is known for its appetite for rice and the problems it causes within the lungs, and if the Haimushi exits the lungs and cannot find its way back, it turns into a fiery will-o-wisp and the person dies. Zexu. Zexu is a mythical giant bird from Kashmawa, South America, and resembles the thunderbird of North America and is said to have the ability to gather storms and is responsible for weather control. Yuki-Ana. Yuki-Ana is a spirit or yokai in Japanese folklore that is often depicted in Japanese literature, films, or animation. Some legends say the Yuki-Ana, being associated with winter and snowstorms, is a spirit of someone who perished in the snow. She is at the same time beautiful and serene, yet ruthless in killing unsuspecting mortals. Until the 18th century, she was almost uniformly portrayed as evil, but today, however, stories often color her as more human, emphasizing her ghost-like nature and ethereal beauty. In many of the stories, the Yuki-Ana appears to travelers trapped in snowstorms and uses her icy breath to leave them as frost-coated corpses, and other legends say she leads them astray, so they simply die of exposure. And in other stories, she is manifested holding a child. When a well-intentioned soul takes the child from her, they are frozen in place. Blackbird of Chernobyl. The Blackbird of Chernobyl was a Mothman-like creature allegedly sighted before the Chernobyl meltdown and during the rescue of Chernobyl workers. There are not many sightings of this avian, though the sightings before and after are similar. All the sightings before the disaster are practically the same. Workers saw the huge creature in the area of the power plant, and afterward are pretty similar too. Rescuers in helicopters said they reported seeing a large bird-like creature fly by, and everyone who has seen the creature during the time has died. Cave children. Cave children are alleged creatures found in Dulth Aral caves in Pohnpei. The cave children are described as creatures with translucent skin, archbacks, wings, and a big red eye that is said to blink very fast. The cave children are said to be very dangerous, attacking anyone who enters the cave, and they also make a murmuring sound which makes people feel uneasy, so much so that even the locals don't go into the caves. Old Ned. The Lake Utopia monster, also known as Old Ned, is a lake monster that allegedly inhabits Lake Utopia in New Brunswick, Canada. The creature is said to have been described as bulky, 20 feet in length, having a large head, being reddish brown or dark red in color, and the last sighting of the Lake Utopia monster was reported in 2000. Big Muddy Monster. Murfreesboro Mud Monster is a mysterious large beast sighted in midnight in 1973 when a young couple was parked by a desolate riverside for a romantic interlude when they came face to face with a huge, wet, hairy, mud-slathered beast. And 2 weeks later, during the summer, the rural town of Murfreesboro, Illinois, became the epicenter of a terrifying series of encounters with the same beast that the teens had saw. Apparently, the monster tormented the citizens of the small community for approximately 14 days straight before its reign of terror abruptly ended. Shuswagi. Shuswap Lake apparently has a local lake monster legend attached to it, which is a 25-foot long serpentine creature known as the Shuswap Lake Monster or Shuswagi that is reported to live deep in the lake. Barmouth Monster. The Barmouth Monster is a serpentine sea monster spotted off the coast of Wales, mainly in and around the Menai Strait, a shallow piece of coastal water around 25 miles across, and the sea monster has been spotted since as early as the 1800s. It has been described in many different ways, and one description claims it is serpentine, while another claims to be similar to that of a crocodile with footprints as large as an elephant. It is said to be 10 feet long and is possessed of skin like that of a dinosaur. Adzi. The Adzi is a type of vampire creature told in the legends of the Uwe people of southern Togo, who turns itself into a firefly or other insect to feed before returning to its human form. They could transform themselves into a number of common insects which are seemingly harmless and are very difficult to capture. The Adzi only have a taste of blood of the innocent, and they are hunters of children and only children, and they especially like to feed on infants. Boranjur. The Boranjur is an Australian dinosaur cryptid that resembles the theropod dinosaur T-Rex, but may be a descendant of the Megaraptor or Rapator, and is described as being a giant lizard according to Aboriginal mythology. Based on sightings, it is 20 to 25 feet long, has small clawed-like hands, and is bipedal in nature. Blue crow. Blue crow is a giant mythical bird from southern Brazil that supposedly travels throughout the southern region of the country, though the blue crow is most likely to be an azure jay due to the blue body and darkened neck and belly. The myth of the blue crow tells of a bird that received a divine mission to take care of the forest, and above all, we should follow the message given from the belief. Brosno dragon. The Brosno dragon, also known as the Brosnia, is a lake monster which in Russian folklore is said to inhabit Lake Brosno. It is described as resembling a dragon and is the subject of number regional legends, some which date back to the 13th century. Tatzelworm. In alpine folklore, the tatzelworm is a lizard-like creature often described as having the face of a cat with a serpent-like body, which may be slender or stubby, with 4 short legs and 2 forelegs. The alleged creature is sometimes said to be venomous or to attack with poisonous breath, and to make a high-pitched or hissing sound. Anecdotes describing encounters with the creature or briefly described lore about them can be found in several areas of Europe, including Austrian, Bavarian, French, Italian, and the Swiss Alps. Gatorman. Not much is known about the New Jersey Gatorman, but we do know that during the summer of 1973, residents of New Jersey's Newton-Lafayette area were plagued by what eyewitnesses described as a large humanoid alligator. No physical evidence from the New Jersey Gatorman has ever been brought to light. However, eyewitnesses' reports and a public acknowledgement from a city official votes well for the existence of the creature. Ichi. Ichi is the name given to a lake monster from a variety of locations in northern England and Scotland, mainly in Bassenthwaite Lake and Windermere. It is described as a large slimy humanoid which occasionally emerged from the lake and was reported from the 19th century until the late 20th century. However, the latest report described it as a sea serpent rather than a humanoid. Megaconda. Apparently, in 1948, a group of native Brazilians claimed to have captured a 131-foot-long snake deep in the Amazon rainforest. To this date, biologists have yet to recognize a living reptile in excess of 33 or 34 feet, but some believe that this giant anaconda or megaconda was in fact a real specimen. The natives called the terrifyingly enormous snake Matataro, or bull killer, after they found a half-swallowed bull that was inside of it. Chipeque. The Chipeque was a cryptid reported from the lakes, rivers, and marshy wetlands in Zambia, particularly around the Bangwelu wetlands. It was also mistaken for the Mokele Mbembe and water lions, as well as the similar but not distinct Nsanga. Lake Tianchi Monster. The Lake Tianchi Monster is a name given to what is said to be a lake monster that lives in Heaven Lake, located in the peak of Baekdu Mountain within the mountain ranges encompassing Jilin province of China. According to Beijing Youth Daily, an estimated of 20 monsters were reported. However, scientists are skeptical that any large creature would be able to survive in the lake, given its recent history of volcanic activity, and skeptics say it's all in the imagination or just a floating volcanic rock. Cadborosaurus. The Cadborosaurus, nicknamed Caddy, is a sea serpent in the folklore regions of the Pacific coast of North America. It is said by witnesses to resemble a serpent with vertical coils or humps in tandem behind the horse-like head and long neck, with a pair of small elevating front flippers and either a pair of hind flippers or a large pair of webbed hind flippers used to form a large fan-like tail region that provides powerful forward propulsion. Rat kings. A rat king is a collection of rats whose tails are intertwined and bound together by one of several possible mechanisms, such as entangling material like hair or sticky substances like sap or gum getting tied together. And historically, this alleged phenomenon is particularly associated with Germany. There are several specimens preserved in museums, but very few instances of rat kings have been observed in modern times. Thylacine. The thylacine is an extinct carnivorous marsupial that was native to the Australian mainland and islands of Tasmania and New Guinea. It was the largest known carnivorous marsupial in the world prior to its extinction, evolving about 2 million years ago. It is commonly known as a Tasmanian tiger because of its striped lower back, and on the Australian mainland it has been referred to as a Nannup tiger. Australian enigma. Eyewitnesses claim that a huge-eyed semi-aquatic beast attacked a ship in the Pacific Ocean where it apparently ate at least one unfortunate sailor aboard the vessel. The facts surrounding this incident are pretty scarce, but what we do know is that in 1808, eyewitnesses reported that an Australian 3-masted bark was allegedly attacked by an unknown animal that had quote-unquote climbed across the bow and bitten or chewed off one of the hands. Slide rock bolter. The slide rock bolter is a bizarre creature recounted by the lumberjacks of North America during the 19th and early 20th centuries and is believed to live in the mountains of Colorado, but this beast has only lived in the mountains where the slope was more than a 45-degree angle. It has an immense head with small eyes and a large mouth, and it has a tail ending in a fluke like a dolphin with enormous grab hooks. According to legend, all day long this creature will just wait for a tourist or helpless creature to get below it, and at that moment it will lift its tail, thus loosening its hold on the mountain and descend rapidly down the slope. With the beast mouth wide open, it would swallow everything that got in its way. Pedestrian bridge monster. Now this is just an alleged monster caught on camera under the pedestrian bridge in Kiev. Here's a video, here's a video, here's a video, here's a video, here's a video. Bunnyman. Bunnyman is an urban legend monster that was first seen in a 1900 newspaper article. Apparently, it was a giant humanoid bunny or man in a bunny costume wielding a knife. It originated in Virginia in 1970, and the Bunnyman would go to kids' schools and talk to them. He would gain the children's trust so that the children would tell them where he lived, and in the night, the Bunnyman would go to the children's homes, kill their parents, and then kidnap the children in their sleep. Rougarou. Often described as a half-man, half-wolf, the Rougarou is essentially a French version of the werewolf, and according to Louisiana legends, the monster lurks in the swamps around Acadia and Greater New Orleans. Fables based on the Rougarou have been used to instill fear and obedience, and growing up, children were sometimes told that if they misbehaved, the Rougarou would come and take them away. It was also said that the French Catholics who broke Lent for 7 years in a row would be hunted down and killed by the beast. Melonheads. In American folklore of Ohio, Michigan, and Connecticut, melonheads are beings described as small humanoids with bulbous heads who occasionally emerge from hiding places to attack people, and different variations of the legend attribute to different origins of the entities. Bullabak. In Gelderland, it was believed that the bullabak was a creature that came out at night to scare people with its loud, roaring noises. The water demon came equipped with a big hook which he used to grab children from the water side in order to drown them. It is said that once the children got into the water, they could see a palace and countless beautiful lights and stars before being dragged down into the depths by the bullabak. Deerman. Deerman is a cryptid whose legend originates from the folklore of North America, and sightings of deermen have been reported from several U.S. states, although there is no variation in the descriptions given. Apparently, it's a hybrid animal, as the deerman has an antlered head of a great stag, a human's torso, and legs described as similar to either those of a man or deer. In addition, it is usually said to be well-muscled and surprisingly fast for its size. Other accounts gift the beast with the power to transform itself from a regular deer into a man, or vice versa. Door dogs. Door dogs are small canines which appear as premonitory omens of death in folklore collected from Morocco. They are described as small silent dogs with pointed noses which are seen following individuals in the weeks before their death. They are seen specifically when the doomed person is passing a threshold such as a doorway, and can only be seen by others, as no one could see their own door dog before they die. Dinogek. The dinogek is a creature that is said to have been seen near Lake Victoria in 1907 by big game hunter John Alfred Jordan and members of his hunting party, as recounted by fellow big game hunter Edgar Beecher Bronson. It was said to be a carnivore that could choose to hunt and devour nearly whatever it wants, save for elephants, and Presumably, it would ambush hippos by sneaking up on them and sinking its meter-long tusk into the thick skin of a hippo as if it were jelly. Black Demon. The black demon shark is an enormous black shark whose territory is said to be just off the coast of Mexico's Baja California peninsula. In recent years, numerous sightings have been reported primarily from local fishermen, and the black demon is said to be between 20 to 60 feet and weighing anywhere between 50 to 100,000 pounds. It is said to resemble a great white shark, but with very dark coloration and a large tail. Some say it could be the megalodon or a new species of shark, or perhaps an unusually large great white. Kushi. The Kushi, or Kusi, is a cryptid believed to live in Lake Kushiro in the northern island of Hokkaido, Japan. The Kushi is reported as being between 10 and 20 meters in length, or 30 to 60 feet, and the most commonly cited coloration of it is dark brown. The neck is of moderate length and the humps are sometimes mentioned. The head of the creature is said to look somewhat like that of a horse, only larger, with silver eyes, and is sometimes described as having two protrusions like giraffe horns on top. Kushtaka. Kushtaka are mythical shape-shifting creatures found in the folklore of the Tlingit peoples of Pacific Northwest coast of North America. Physically, Kushtaka are shapeshifters capable of assuming human form, the form of an otter, and potentially other forms. In some accounts, a Kushtaka is able to assume the form of any other species of an otter. In some legends, it is said that the Kushtaka will imitate the cries of a baby or screams of a woman to lure victims into the river, and once there, the Kushtaka either kills a person and tears them to shreds or will turn them into another Kushtaka. Dog Boy. In 1954, Gerald Floyd Bettis was born to Floyd and Eileen Bettis in what has since been named the Bettis House. Those who knew him claim that he used to catch dogs and cats and keep them in his home as a young boy, but instead of being nice to them, he would horribly torture and kill the creatures. The story also goes that he imprisoned his own parents in the attic, keeping them there for years. And according to police reports, he abused his parents quite badly, but wasn't arrested for it until the death of his father, and continued to abuse his mother. He died in prison of a drug overdose, and since then people have claimed paranormal activity is common in the house. Flickering lights, strange noises, and moving objects have also been reported. Dark Watchers. The Dark Watchers is the name given to a group of entities in California folklore, supposedly seen observing travelers along the St. Lucia Mountains. The Dark Watchers are described as tall, sometimes giant-sized, featureless dark silhouettes, often adorned with brimmed hats or walking sticks. They're mostly reported to be seen in the hours around twilight and dawn, and they are said to motionlessly watch travelers from the horizon. According to legend, no one has ever seen one up close, and if someone were to approach them, they disappear. Night Marchers. In Hawaiian mythology, Night Marchers are the deadly ghosts of ancient Hawaiian warriors. The Night Marchers are the vanguard for a sacred king, chief, or chiefess. Legends say that Night Marchers are normal-sized warriors dressed for battle, carrying spears, clubs, and some are beating war drums and blowing tones from conch shells to announce the advancing of their march. And according to the myth, they are suspended in the air as their feet do not touch the water or ground as they traverse through the night and leave no evidence of their visitations. Goody Cole. Eunice Cole was a woman from the coast of New Hampshire, better known as Goody Cole, and she was the only woman convicted of witchcraft in New Hampshire. She was formally accused of witchcraft 3 times in her life, once in 1656, 1673, and 1680, and although she was not indicted, she was still kept in prison. Upon her death in 1680, she was hastily buried in an unmarked grave in Hampton, and local legends suggest that a stake was driven into her body after her death in order to quote-unquote exercise the baleful influence that she was supposed to have possessed, and a horseshoe was hung on the stake just to be on the safe side. Cloud Giant. The Cloud Giant was a bizarre humanoid figure photographed in January of 2016 by an Irish software support team manager flying from Austria to England, and the 30-year-old passenger captured this image at 30,000 feet. Diogen. The Diogen is an evil spirit said to haunt the Saunian forest in Belgium, often seen in fog form and followed by smaller shadow figures. The story, which is based on a series of true events, has become more of a campfire tale or urban legend with virtually no sightings in recent years. Sea Monk. The sea monk was a sea creature found off the eastern coast of the Danish island of Zealand in 1546. It was described as a fish that outwardly resembled a human monk in its habit. A 2005 paper concluded that the animal was most like an angel shark, and the alleged sea monk was captured at sea probably in 1546. Shug monkey. In the folklore of Cambridgeshire, the shug monkey is a creature that shares features of a dog and monkey, which reportedly haunted Slow Hill Lane. The creature that had the body of a jet black shaggy sheepdog in the face of a monkey with staring eyes was believed to be a supernatural ghost or demon. And according to folklore, sightings of the shug monkey have not been reported since before World War II. Flying rays. Flying rays are a strange variety of atmospheric creatures described as resembling giant flying manta rays. Sky serpents. Sky serpents are snakes or elongated serpentine dragons that appear to float in thin air, and they typically move in an undulating fashion as if they were sea serpents of the air. They are not the same as ordinary flying dragons because they manage to fly without wings, like most Asian dragons that have the ability to fly. Some sky serpents are seen to have different colors and textures than other sky serpents, which are sighted all around the world. Con Rit. Con Rit is the name given to a cryptid from Vietnam, which is an enormous oceanic centipede which lives in the southeast Vietnam Sea. Its body is made of segments of bony plates and employs fish-like fins to swim. They are estimated to be roughly 135 feet in length, and it is claimed that the creature possessed an immense number of fins, which is said to have propelled it through the water at enough speed to keep pace with a medium-sized ship. Rock apes. The rock apes, also known as the rock apes of Vietnam, are a group of alleged violent humanoids reportedly sighted multiple times during the Vietnam War, which ranged from 1955 to 1975. And the creatures were mostly seen by American GIs who told their stories after returning home. And apparently there were like accounts of even Americans getting in gunfights with what they thought were enemies but were really rock apes. Cabagon. The name Cabagon literally means hippo monster in Japanese language, and the most notable features of the creature are that it has very large eyes and nostrils and a large head measuring 1.5 meters in height from under the nostrils to the top of the head. The coloration is grayish, and in general the head of the creature somewhat resembles an umibozu. Were-tiger. The were-tiger is a type of werewolf from India, Malaysia, Borneo, China, and Japan, and in folklore the person possesses a miniature skirt, and when they put the skirt on, it grows larger and larger and turns yellow and black, and the person is then transformed into a tiger, where he or she must find another victim to devour in order to release his or her soul. Wuhan toads. The Wuhan toads were said to be gigantic albino amphibians that lived in the remote Hubei province of China in Baofeng Lake. They are known for their atrocious appetite and their size, and local fishermen believe that these toads lived in Baofeng along with several other lakes. Other than what they believe and may have seen, there have been 2 major sightings. Black Volga. The Black Volga refers to an urban legend widespread in Poland, Hungary, Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, Greece, and Mongolia, mainly in the 1960s and 1970s. And the legend refers to a black GAZ-21 or GAZ-24 that was allegedly used to abduct people, especially children. And according to different versions, it was driven by priests, nuns, Jews, communists, secret police, Russian mafia, vampires, Satanists, or Satan himself. And the car is described as having white wheel rims, white curtains, or other white elements. You better watch out for that damn car. If you see it driving towards you, just know you're done. Lusca. The Lusca has been described in varying ways, and some cryptozoologists have suggested that it is merely a giant octopus that has been misidentified, while others describe the Lusca as a half shark, half octopus hybrid monster. It has razor-sharp teeth and multi-suckered tentacles, and it sometimes has many of the same characteristics as a colossal octopus, but has also been described at times different as having multiple heads, dragon-like features, or even appearing as a vaguely described evil spirit. Beast of Gavaudan. The Beast of Gavaudan is a historical name associated with a man-eating animal or animals which terrorized the former province of Gavaudan of south-central France between 1764 and 1767. The attacks were said to have been committed by one or more beasts with formidable teeth and immense tails, according to contemporary eyewitnesses. Most descriptions from the period identify the beast as a striped hyena, dog, wolf, or wolf-dog hybrid. Victims were often killed by having their throats torn out, and the Kingdom of France used a considerable amount of money and manpower to hunt down the animals responsible, including the resources of several nobles, soldiers, royal huntsmen, and civilians. Ground sloth. Ground sloths are a diverse group of extinct sloths, and the term is used for reference of all extinct sloths because of the large size of their earliest forms discovered, as opposed to tree sloths. And they all went extinct at around 2,600 to 3,000 BCE. Nandi bear. In East African folklore, the Nandi bear is a creature said to live in East Africa, and it takes its name from the Nandi people who live in western Kenya. Descriptions of the Nandi bear are of a ferocious, powerfully built carnivore with high front shoulders and a sloping back. And stories of the Nandi bear state that it is fierce, nocturnal, and stands on its hind legs and kills animals. Local legends hold that the Nandi bear has reddish hair, long feet, and is also said to scalp its victims. Trunco. Trunco is the nickname for a large identified lump of flesh or a decomposed sea monster or so-called globster, reportedly sighted in Margate, South Africa on October 25th, 1924. The animal was reportedly first seen off the coast battling 2 killer whales which fought the unusual creature for 3 hours. And one of the witnesses described the animal as looking like a giant polar bear due to what he thought was dense white fur. The creature would then wash up on the Margate beach, but despite being there for 10 days, no scientist investigated the carcass while it was beached, so no reliable description has been published. Gombo. Gombo is the name given to a carcass of an unidentified large marine animal that was reportedly washed up on the Bungalow Beach in the Gambia. The carcass of Gombo is reported to have been discovered on June 12, 1983, and according to local villagers, they called it a dolphin, but that was likely only because of superficial similarity. The carcass was later decapitated by local villagers and the head was sold by a tourist. Its body was then buried and attempts to relocate it have failed. Water lion. Water lions are river monsters reported under a variety of names from several countries in Central Africa. The majority of sightings have been reported from the Central African Republic and southern Chad, but also as far as Angola in the southwest, Mali in the northwest, and Kenya in the east. Orang pendek. In Indonesian folklore, orang pendek is the most common name given to a creature that is said to inhabit remote, mountainous forests on the island of Sumatra. The animal has allegedly been seen and documented for at least 100 years by forest tribes, local villagers, Dutch colonists, and Western scientists and travelers. Consensus among witnesses is that the animal is a ground-dwelling bipedal primate covered in short fur, standing between 30 and 60 inches tall. Warsaw basilisk. Now this creature was a combination of a snake, rooster, and bat, and sometimes of other animals that was born from an egg laid by a rooster and incubated by a toad, and it was so venomous that birds flying over it would die. Pliny the Elder wrote about it, and the accounts from the Middle Ages blame basilisks for plague, outbreaks, and murders. Once a rooster was caught trying to lay an egg and was convicted and executed for its unnatural act. But the most famous incident is the Warsaw basilisk hunt of 1587, which is the best documented of all basilisk hunts. And it was started when 2 children and a maid were found dead in a cellar. U-28 creature. The U-28 creature was an enormous reptilian creature sighted once only briefly in the North Atlantic during the First World War. The animal was named after the German submarine whose crew spotted it after a brief engagement with a British steamer, and the creature was described as resembling an enormous aquatic crocodile some 60 feet in length. Minhocao. The minhocao is a creature from Brazilian folklore that is variously claimed to be a large fish or to resemble a worm measuring 20 to 50 or even 80 meters. It has been blamed without sightings for damage to local roads and the appearance of deep trenches that appear after long spells of rainy weather. Claims of a rumbling sound like thunder accompanying its movement led to suggestions that the minhocao was simply being used as an explanation for seismic activity in the area. I can't remember if I said it or not, but that last section was tier 5. I don't know if I said it. I don't know. My bad. Alright, but moving on, we're going to tier 6. First off, we got Romanian zoo humanoid. And a young tourist decided to make a visit to Onesti City in Romania. And in Onesti was an abandoned zoo that was closed in 2007 in strange circumstances and for no reason whatsoever. As soon as he got there, the tourist heard some rumors according to which a strange humanoid creature had been captured and taken to the zoo and was currently being held in a cellar. And this is the footage. Lake Worth monster. In Texas folklore, the Lake Worth monster is a legendary creature said to inhabit Lake Worth at the Fort Worth Nature Center and Refuge, just outside of Fort Worth. The creature is often described as part man, part goat with scales and long clawed fingers. Mutant Muppet. The mutant Muppet is a strange creature discovered by a party of people in Namibia, Africa. Witnesses state that the creature was spotted apparently foraging for food, and one of the people from the party witnessing it shot and wounded it with his rifle, and it quickly escaped into thick brush. Locals tracked it into a nearby lair where they found 3 more creatures there, and one was shot dead while the others escaped. Sandown Clown. The Sandown Clown was a strange being encountered by 2 young children vacationing in Sandown, Isle of Wight in the UK in 1973. Following a sound of an ambulance siren, the children wandered across a footbridge over a stream and met a curious, unidentifiable being that had been described as a cross between a clown, robot, and an alien, and it was shy but a friendly being and spoke kindly to the children for almost half an hour before they returned to their parents. It seemingly vanished after the encounter and has never been seen again. Bat Beast of Kent. The Bat Beast of Kent sighting was an extraterrestrial sighting that took place on the evening of November 16, 1963 on Sandling Road in the country of Kent, and 2 witnesses claimed to have been walking home from a party with several other friends when they noticed a large glowing orb hovering high in the air. It eventually made its way behind the trees and settled into the foliage of the woods at Sandling Park. Moments after the craft apparently landed behind the trees, the teens noticed shaking in the bushes, in which a beast emerged looking like a headless bat that was approximately 5 feet tall, with large webbed feet and wings protruding from its back. Moore's Beach Monster. The Moore's Beach Monster was a cryptid carcass discovered in 1925 on Moore's Beach in California and was described by witnesses as having a large head with a beak-like mouth and tiny eyes. Some witnesses even described the creature as having feathers, elephantine skin, fur, legs, and even toenails. However, the identity of the creature was quickly found to be a Baird's beaked whale, which was a creature known for being the identity of many lobsters. Giant Penguin. The giant penguins was a subfamily of prehistoric penguins. Apparently they reached the height of at least 5 feet. And yeah, they were massive and might have even weighed as much as an adult human. These are real, bro. Can you believe it? Giant penguins. Dancing. Just tapping all over the place. These were the true elder gods. They ruled the earth before our time. The Anunnaki. They were giant tap-dancing penguins. Pig-faced woman. Legends featuring a pig-faced woman originated roughly simultaneously in Holland, England, and France in the late 1630s, and the stories tell of a wealthy woman whose body is of normal human appearance, but whose face is that of a pig. It's just, Moha Moha. The Moha Moha is a turtle-like sea creature supposedly inhabiting the area of the Great Barrier Reef near Queensland, Australia, and it is described as a long-necked creature with a large dome-shaped back and huge fishtail. It was supposedly about 8 feet in width and 5 feet in height, and it was first reported in 1890. Ting Voar. The Ting Voar, or snake-eating cow, is a bovid mammal reported to exist in Cambodia and Vietnam, and the existence as a real species should be regarded as questionable. It is normally described as a cow-like animal with peculiar twisting horns about 20 inches long and spotted fur, and it often has some sort of connection with snakes, varying between stories. Killer cactus. The killer cactus is a possible cryptobotanical creature often reported in the southwestern United States, particularly in Arizona. Much like the jumping cactus, this variety easily latches onto clothing and flesh. However, many people who have encountered this creature claim they were standing at least several feet away from any cactus when they were attacked. Steller's sea ape. Steller's sea ape is a claimed marine mammal observed by German zoologist George Steller in 1741, and the animal was described as being around 5 feet or 1.5 meters long, with a dog-like head, long drooping whiskers, and an elongated, robust body, thick fur coat, and no limbs, but for 2 tail fins, much like a shark. He described the creature as being playful and inquisitive, much like a monkey, and after observing it for 2 hours, he attempted to shoot and collect the creature, but missed, and the creature swam away. Kalana. Kalana is a suspected species of dwarf elephant allegedly found in South India, and some of the tribal people there also call the delicate creatures Thambiana, which also means dragonfly, for the speed of which these creatures run through the trees and rocks when disturbed. Monkey Man of New Delhi. The Monkey Man of New Delhi is an imaginary monster which was reported to be roaming Delhi in the mid-2001, and the entire incident was described as an example of mass hysteria in India. In May 2001, reports began to circulate in Indian capital New Delhi around a strange monkey-like creature that was appearing at night and attacking people. Eyewitness accounts were often inconsistent, but tended to describe the creature as around 4 feet tall, covered in thick black hair, with a metal helmet, metal claws, glowing red eyes, and 3 buttons on its chest. And others described the monkey man as having a more vulpine snout and being up to 8 feet tall and muscular, which would leap from building to building. Mountain gorilla. The mountain gorilla is one of the 2 subspecies of the eastern gorilla and is listed as an endangered species as of 2018. There are 2 populations, one found in the Virunga volcanic mountains of Central Africa and the other one being found in Uganda's Bwindi Impenetrable National Park. As of June 2018, there's about 1,000 individuals of this animal. Buru. The buru was a cryptid reported from India's Apatani Valley and Dafla Hills, described as an aquatic reptile-like creature. The Apatani people believed to have wiped them out sometime before 1945 when clearing the swamps in which they lived, and the buru is now considered to be an extinct cryptid, though similar cryptids have been continued to be reported from the Indian subcontinent. Various identities have been suggested for it, from a reptile such as a crocodile or a monitor lizard to a fish such as a lungfish or bony tongue. Alula whale. The Alula whale resembles a sepia brown orca whale with a well-rounded forehead. The dorsal fin is around 2 feet high, and it is roughly 24 feet long and weighs around 4,000 pounds. Giglioli's whale. Giglioli's whale is a claimed species of whale observed by Enrico Hillier Giglioli, and it is described as having 2 dorsal fins, which is a feature that no known whales have. Trinity Alps giant salamander. The Trinity Alps giant salamander is an alleged giant salamander that is reported to live in the Trinity Alps of Northern California and is considered a cryptid, as no specimen has ever been recovered and it is not a recognized species. Maltese tiger. The Maltese tiger or blue tiger is reported but unproven correlation morph of a tiger reported mostly in the Fujian region of China. It is said to have bluish fur with dark gray stripes, and the quote-unquote Maltese tigers, the blue tigers, may wholly be an extinct cryptid. Baiji. The baiji is a possibly extinct species of freshwater dolphin and is thought to be the first dolphin species driven to extinction due to the impact of humans. The baiji population declined drastically in decades as China industrialized and made heavy use of the Yangtze River for transportation, fishing, and hydroelectricity. The baiji represents the first documented global extinction of a megafaunal vertebrate in over 50 years, since the demise of the Japanese sea lion in the 1950s. It also signified the disappearance of an entire mammal family of river dolphins. Living fire hose. Now, an odd sighting was posted on an internet message board around the year of 2000, which described a person who worked for Gulf Oil as a diver mending oil rigs in the 1970s. Supposedly he quit because he had seen very odd things that disturbed his peace of mind, and one of them included was a creature that he described as a living fire hose, which was a serpentine headless creature that glowed green and swam around the divers at speeds comparable to a race car. Some people attributed his sightings to nitrogen narcosis, which is common on deep scuba dives and notorious for causing hallucinations and delusions. Giant jellyfish. It's just one of the largest known species of jellyfish. It's a giant jellyfish. Giant, bro, giant. Albatrosia. The albatrosia is found in the North Pacific from northern Japan, the Bering Seas, Gulf of Alaska, and south to northern Baja California in Mexico. It is found at depths between 140 to 3,500 meters and can grow up to 2.1 meters in length, and it has a usual greatly elongated pointed tail of the rat tails. Mountain creature caught running behind Google car. Mountain creature caught running behind a Google car is a bipedal entity with pale skin and black eyes, and it apparently is an amphibian resembling a newt with what seem to be vestigial arms. Now moving on, we got tier 7, and first off we got Mongolian monster. The Mongolian monster is also known as the Arizona Bigfoot, and it is said to be an ape-like creature similar to the descriptions of Bigfoot, reported to dwell in central and eastern Arizona along the Mongolian Rim. It is described as a large bipedal creature over 7 feet tall with large red eyes, and its body is said to be covered with long black or reddish hair, with the exclusion of the face, chest, hands, and feet. And reports claim it has a strong and pungent odor described to that as of a dead fish, skunk, decaying peat moss, and the musk of a snapping turtle. California fetus. The California fetus was a strange carcass discovered by a woman in November 2015 in Los Angeles, California, and the creature appears to be bipedal with 2 long legs that end in hoof-like stumps, and the creature's skin is pink and seemingly glistening with moisture. The creature possesses a long, thick neck ending in a spherical head, which contains thin blue eyes and a deformed mouth. Solway Firth Spaceman. Solway Firth Spaceman is a figure seen in a photograph taken in 1964 by fireman, photographer, and local historian Jim Templeton. It was taken on Berg Marsh in Cumbria, England, and Templeton claimed the photograph shows a background figure wearing a spacesuit and insisted that he did not see anyone present when the photograph was taken. The image was reproduced widely in contemporary newspapers and gained the interest of UFOologists all around the world. Mapinguari. In Brazilian folklore, the Mapinguari, also called the Yuma, is a monstrous entity said to live in the Amazon rainforest. Descriptions of this creature vary, and sometimes it is described as a hairy humanoid cyclops, while other people claim that it is based on the cultural memory of the giant ground sloth, and the creature is often said to have a gaping mouth on its abdomen. Grecian dolphin. The Grecian dolphin was a strange dolphin-like animal sighted twice off the coast of Greece by tourists, and the original photo was taken by a Scottish tourist while on a boat cruise off of the coast of Parga. Thames River Monster. The Thames River Monster is a giant serpent-like creature sighted in Greenwich near the O2 Arena and was speculated to be around 30 to 170 feet. And many people have compared this creature to the Loch Ness Monster, while experts theorize it could be a species of Atlantic whale known to travel up the Thames for feeding in the early spring or summer. Water elephant. Water elephants are supposed semi-aquatic relatives of the African elephant, and these animals are said to resemble the ancient Moeritherium. The water elephant is also described as oddly shaped, tuskless elephants that live most of their lives in deep, murky water, presumably feeding on aquatic plants. It has frequently been confused with another underwater cryptid called the water lion, and may even have some connection with it. Piranha creature. The piranha creature was a name given to a strange animal carcass that was discovered by firefighters on October 21st near the shore of the Piranha River in Carmen del Piranha. The creature appears to be slightly over a foot long from head to toe, and it is frog-like in form but also monkey-like with 5 fingers on each hand, and the creature has no discernible neck and has pale skin. Gnome of Garona. The Gnome of Garona, also known as the Gnomo de Garona, is the name given to the remains of an animal or fetus found near Garona, Catalonia in September 1989 that aroused some attention from the Spanish media, especially some TV programs specialized in parapsychology and the paranormal. The being had been captured by campers in Garona, and they were near a forest when one of them heard noises similar to low-volume moans, and when he looked in the direction where the noises were coming from, he spotted the being that tried to escape, moving fast from them. The campers managed to capture the being by throwing a blanket over it, and it remained alive for approximately 24 hours after the capture. And after its death, Spanish parapsychologist Angel Gordon got the body and preserved it in a jar of formal. Kovashi creature. The Kovashi creature was a strange carcass found on the banks of the river Kovashi in the town of Sosnovy Bar in western Russia, and a woman named Tamara told reporters that she had found the creature on the Kovashi River, which flows into the Gulf of Finland. The creature appears to be 3 to 4 centimeters in length and blackish brown in color. The creature also has an oddly shaped skull, long neck, and long leg appendage, and the witness Tamara also claimed that it appeared to have what resembled wings. Crawfordsville Monster. The Crawfordsville Monster refers to an alleged creature reported by residents of Crawfordsville, Indiana in 1891 and subsequently identified as a flock of killdeer. The story goes that on September 5th, 1891, it was reported that 2 men sighted a strange phenomenon that hovered in the air above their location, describing it as a horrible apparition that filled them with dread. It was described as about 18 feet long and 8 feet wide and moved rapidly through the air by means of several pairs of side fins. It was pure white and had no definite shape or form, resembling somewhat of a great white shroud filled with propelling fins. Flannel shirt Sasquatch. The term flannel shirt Sasquatch denotes a rare subcategory of Northern American hominid sightings in which the mysterious creature appeared to be wearing human clothes, most consistently a ragged flannel shirt or otherwise animal skins. In the 1960s and 1970s, reports from American West would occasionally surface of a hairy bipedal Bigfoot being seen with tattered plaid shorts and ragged shorts on their bodies. Old Saybrook Blockheads. The Old Saybrook Blockheads sighting was an extraterrestrial sighting that took place in December 16, 1957, near Old Saybrook, Connecticut. A retired teacher reported seeing a bright light that awoke her around 2 or 3 in the morning and peering out her bedroom window. She thought at first she was looking at a downed airplane until she realized an object was hovering above her clothesline. Through the craft's large square window, she witnessed 2 strange entities pass by one another with their right arms in the air, and their featureless appendages had no hands, and their heads were transparent cubes with bright red cores, and their rubbery bodies flared out like skirts. She could not see if they had any legs, but guessed that they were less than 4 feet tall. Wood Devils. Wood devils are a race of humanoid Sasquatch-like creatures that are said to roam the forests of New Hampshire, mainly Coos County. The creatures are said to be tall, at least 7 feet in height, and very thin, and they are covered in gray fur. They are also said to be very elusive and are often seen standing still against a tree. They are said to be fast and nimble, possibly move from one tree to another very quickly, and if it cannot hide, it will stand perfectly still until it knows the person can't see it. Banshee. The Banshee is a female spirit-like creature in Irish mythology, usually seen as a bad omen of death and a messenger from the underworld. In legend, the Banshee is a fairy woman who begins to wail if someone is about to die, and in Scottish Gaelic mythology, she is known as the Bean of Sith or Bean Nighe, and is seen washing the bloodstained clothes or armor of those who are about to die. Alleged sightings of Banshee have been reported as recently as 1948, and similar beings are found in Welsh, Norse, and folklore of the United States. CCTV Dobby. Now this is just literally just this video. Succubus. A succubus is a demon or a supernatural entity in folklore in female form that appears in dreams to seduce men, usually through sexual activity. According to religious traditions, repeated sexual activity with a succubus can cause poor physical or mental health or even death. And in modern representations, a succubus is often depicted as a beautiful seductress or enchantress rather than as demonic or frightening. Mngwa. Mngwa, also known as the Nunda, is a mysterious creature sighted in Tanzania. It was described as a gigantic gray feline the size of a donkey, and evidence of this creature first arose in the early 1900s. The Mngwa was also described to have bridled fur that was visibly different from that of a leopard, and it is reported that attacks associated with the Nandi bear might have actually been by the Mngwa. Megalania. The Megalania is an extinct species of monitor lizard, part of the megafaunal assemblage that inhabited Australia during the Pleistocene, and is the largest terrestrial lizard ever known to exist, reaching an estimated length of 11 to 23 feet and weighing between 214 to 4,000 pounds. The youngest fossils remained of these lizards date to about 50,000 years ago, and first indigenous settlers of Australia might have encountered the Megalania and may have been a factor for their extinction. Black Shuck. In English folklore, Black Shuck is the name given to a ghostly black dog which is said to have roamed the coastline and countryside of East Anglia, one of the many black dogs recorded in folklore along the British Isles. Descriptions of the creature's appearance and nature vary considerably, and it is sometimes recorded as an omen of death, but in other instances described as a companion. Fur-bearing trout. The fur-bearing trout is a legendary creature allegedly found in American folklore and Icelandic folklore, and according to folklore, the trout has a thick coat of fur to maintain its body heat. Tales of the furry fish date to the 17th century and later became known as the shaggy trout of Iceland. A taxidermy furry trout produced by Ross C. Job is a specimen at the Royal Museum of Scotland, and it is a trout with white rabbit fur. Julia. Julia is a sound recorded on March 1999 by NOAA, and it was recorded by the Equatorial Hydrophone Array and lasted for about 15 seconds. Here's the sound. Nukkalavi. The Nukkalavi is a horse-like demon from Orcadian mythology that combines equine and human elements, and it has origins in Norse mythology, and it is called one of the nastiest demons of all time from Scotland's Northern Isles. The Nukkalavi's breath was thought to wilt crops and sicken livestock, and the creature was held responsible for the droughts and epidemics on the land, despite being predominantly a sea dweller. Underwater panther. An underwater panther is one of the most important several mythological water beings among many indigenous peoples of northwestern woodlands and Great Lakes region, particularly among the Anishinaabe. It is also called the Great Lynx and has the head and paws of a giant cat, but is covered in scales and has dagger-like spikes running along its back and tail. To the Algonquins, the underwater panther was a most powerful underworld being, and the Ojibwe traditionally held them to be masters of all water creatures, including snakes. Some archaeologists believe that the underwater panthers were major components of southeastern ceremonial complex of the Mississippian culture in the prehistoric American Southeast. Fayanaga. The Fayanaga are divine, semi-divine entities or semi-divine race of half-human, half-serpent beings that reside in the netherworld and can occasionally take human form. Rituals devoted to these supernatural beings have been taking place throughout South Asia for at least 2,000 years, and they are principally depicted in three forms: wholly human with snakes on their heads and necks, common serpents, or as half-human, half-snake beings in Hinduism, and a female Naga is a Naga, Nagin, or Nagini. Gasha the Kuro. Gasha the Kuro literally means starving skeleton, and they are the mythical creatures of Japanese mythology, and they're spirits who take the form of giant skeletons that are 15 times larger than an average person and are said to be created from the ghosts of the people who died in battle that were not buried. The people's desire for vengeance causes this creature to roam after midnight, grabbing lone travelers and biting off their heads to drink their spraying blood. They are said to possess the powers of invisibility and indestructibility, since it is composed of the bones of people who are already deceased and can be warded off with charms. Otherwise, they will continue hunting their prey until its pent-up anger is released, causing the bones to crumble and the creature to collapse. Omukade. The Omukade is a giant man-eating centipede that lives in the mountains, and while it eats humans, the Omukade has a weakness to human saliva. Arkansas's Gowrow. The Arkansas's Gowrow is a giant lizard said to live in the caves of Arkansas, and it has 2 tusks on its head and is 20 feet in length, and it makes an assortment of groans and hisses. Werebear. The werebear is related to the werewolf, but it is even more fearsome. Many countries that were home to bears also had folk tales of werebears. They were strong and powerful with signs of human intelligence and sometimes the skill to use weapons. In Norse history, the berserkers were a group of warriors who wore bearskins and fought so wildly that they were thought to be werebears. Like werewolves, werebears only transform at certain times, usually linked to the phases of the moon, and they often show signs of extreme tiredness once they return to their human state. Lamia. Lamia in ancient Greek mythology was a child-eating monster, and in later tradition was regarded as a type of night-haunting spirit. In the earliest stories, Lamia was a beautiful queen of Libya who had an affair with Zeus, and upon learning this, Zeus's wife Hera forced Lamia to eat her own children, the offspring of her affair with Zeus, and afflicted her with permanent insomnia. Zeus, taking pity on her, endowed Lamia with the gift of prophecy and the ability to temporarily remove her eyes to relieve her sleeplessness. Today, Lamia is used in Greece as a boogeyman to frighten children into obedience, similar to the way parents in Spain, Portugal, and Latin America use the cocoa. Jimboseth. The Jimboseth, also known as the Congolese giant spiders, are a type of arachnid cryptid that is said to inhabit the forests of the Congo, possibly representing the new species of arachnid. Most of the anecdotal tales describe the spiders digging a shallow tunnel under tree roots and camouflaging them with a screen of leaves. They then create an almost invisible web between their burrow and nearby tree, circling the whole area with a network of trip lines, and some oblivious animal that'll likely soon up to be the prey will get caught up in the web, alert the spider, and then the victim will be chased and, killed. Alright, we're moving on to tier 8, and first off we have Oklahoma octopus. The Oklahoma octopus is a cryptid generally said to inhabit some freshwater man-made lakes of Oklahoma, including Lake Thunderbird, Ogallala Lake, and Lake Tenkiller, where it attacks and kills unsuspecting swimmers, and there's no existing footage of it. Giant of Kandahar. The Giant of Kandahar was an enormous humanoid creature allegedly encountered and killed by a group of American soldiers on a mountainside in Afghanistan. I actually covered this subject in one of my videos in the conspiracy theory Iceberg. There's a playlist if you want to go check it out. Yeah, just, go take a look. Go take it. Not now. Not now. Not now. Not now. Not now. Not now. But maybe when you finish. Go ahead and take a looky. Park Forestal Alien. The Park Forestal Alien sighting is an extraterrestrial sighting that took place in 2004, and the witness was a civil engineer who was taking a few snapshots of the state police on horseback in Chile, and after downloading the photos and examining one of them, he noticed a small figure that was making a quick dash between the two officers. Jeff the Talking Mongoose. Jeff, also referred to as the Talking Mongoose, was the name given to an allegedly talking mongoose which claimed to inhabit a farmhouse owned by the Irving family. The story was given extensive coverage by tabloid press in Britain in the early 1930s, and the Irvings gained the attention of parapsychologists, ghost hunters, and all types of media. Some investigators of the era, as well as contemporary critics, have concluded that Voirrey Irving, one of the daughters, used ventriloquism and family collusion to perpetuate the whole situation as a hoax. Large Antarctic sea mammal. The large Antarctic sea mammal is a cryptid reported by a Japanese research ship in 1958 in Antarctica. The captain of the Soya nicknamed this creature Antarctic Godzilla, as he likened its appearance to Godzilla, and some indicate that the creature is the same species as the Cabagon. Sakhalin Island sea wolf. The Sakhalin Island sea wolf was a mutilated corpse that was found by Russian soldiers on the Sakhalin shoreline, and the creature's origin was unknown. According to a scientific survey, the bones and teeth were not of a fish, and according to its skeletal remains, it was not a crocodile or alligator, and the skull resembled that of a canine. Solar plexus clown gliders. Solar plexus clown gliders is the collective name given to a broad range of paranormal phenomenon attributed to a corruptive entity which infects weak and vulnerable people through the solar plexus chakra. Basically, these cryptids feed off of human misery and bombard most humans that it latched to with realistic hallucinations and weaken them emotionally. Brazilian werewolf. The Brazilian werewolf is a humanoid cryptid reportedly caught by a security camera in Cailândia, which is a city in east central Brazil. Carnivorous pink cloud. The carnivorous pink cloud is a strange ghostly phenomenon that has supposedly been observed in the woods along the Tomoka River and has been blamed for numerous disappearances and the appearance of many carcasses. The cloud has been described as being pink in color and low hanging to the ground like morning fog, and other witnesses describe the cloud as being orange in color. Regardless of the color, the cloud has been blamed for many deaths and carcasses found in the woods, and legends state that the cloud is carnivorous and will suck the flesh off a person's bones. Pennine pterodactyl. The Pennine pterodactyl was a flying pterosaur-like creature allegedly witnessed by several people in the Pennines moors and valleys near West Yorkshire. Some characterize the beast as merely a big bird, and others as a wispy, near-translucent ghost image of a prehistoric reptile. Belombil Heights alien. The Belombil Heights alien was an alleged sighting of an alien in the town of Belombil Heights near New South Wales, Australia in December 2010. A 16-year-old teenager had filmed what he claims was an alien in the backyard, and he had also had additional footage from other encounters, and it was all uploaded to YouTube. Squonk. The squonk is a mythical creature said to live in the hemlock forest of northern Pennsylvania, and legends of the squonk probably originated in the late 19th century at the height of Pennsylvania's importance in the timber industry. The legend holds that the creature's skin is ill-fitting, being covered with warts, and because it is ashamed of its appearance, it hides from plain sight and spends most of its time weeping. Hunters who have tried catching squonks have found out the creature is capable of dissolving completely into a pool of tears and bubbles when it is cornered. Palm Beach raptor. Now, this is just an alleged raptor caught on camera in Palm Beach, Florida. Sandwalker. Sandwalker is a legendary beast from Arab mythology, and it's a giant nocturnal crab about the size of a horse with a bird-like beak and a scorpion's tail. It is known to bury itself in the sand during the day to avoid detection and only come out at night. It rarely eats humans, but it is said to steal camels and horses from caravans and eat them, and when the creature walks, it leaves behind giant crab-like tracks. Beast of Seven Shoots. On June 1st, 2005, a photo was taken of an identified species standing beside a waterfall in the Parc des Sept Chutes in Quebec, Canada. The creature appears to be holding something and staring at the photographer, who didn't notice it at the time. Tennessee red cheetah. The Tennessee red cheetah is often reported in the plains of the West, where it can run free, and most reports of this creature are often sadly disagreed as a hallucination or a mountain lion, although it is not too common for a mountain lion to roam up northward from the Great Plains, and it has been reported as a semi-gold and carmine with black spots. People report the creature is about 5 feet in length and around 4 feet wide, and the most distinguishable feature of the creature is that its head is more bulky, similar to an American bulldog. Zaraton. The Zaraton is a grandiose sea turtle found in literature and in folklore, and Zaratons are notable for their long lifespan and impossible size. And the most distinguishable feature of a Zaraton are the small islands on the back of its shell. Nain Rogue. The Nain Rogue, also called the Demon of the Strait, is a legendary creature of the Detroit, Michigan area whose appearance is said to presage misfortune. According to various narratives surrounding the figure, Detroit's founder, Antoine de la Motte Cadillac, was told by a fortune teller to appease the Nain Rogue, but upon encountering the creature, he smacked it with his cane and shouted, "Get out of my way, you red imp." And as a consequence, a string of bad luck befell Cadillac, and he was charged with abuse of power and reassigned to Louisiana, later returning to France, where he was briefly imprisoned and eventually lost his fortune. The Nain Rogue has become a part of contemporary Detroit culture, and each spring the city hosts a community festival and costume parade called the Marche du Nain Rogue. Wetoriki. Wetoriki is an otter beaver-like creature in New Zealand folklore, and it's usually described as a small otter-like animal that lives in the South Island of New Zealand. There are many theories on the Wetoriki's true identity, such as it being an otter, beaver, or pinniped, and New Zealand's only scientifically recognized native land mammals are bats. Toronto Tunnel Monster. The city of Toronto once had numerous streams and waterways that, as the city expanded, were built over and became a network of underground waterways buried beneath the city and merging with the sewer systems. The Algonquian tribes of Canada spoke of man-like hairy creatures that thrived in these rivers before they were hidden away from the public. And in 1978, a similar monkey-like creature was sighted living in an underground tunnel in Toronto. Honey Island Swamp Monster. The Honey Island Swamp Monster, also known as the Cajun Sasquatch, is an ape-like humanoid cryptid creature similar to the descriptions of Bigfoot that is said to live in the Honey Island Swamp in Louisiana, and it has become a part of Louisiana folklore, with many swamp tour companies in the area capitalizing on its alleged existence. Snake-headed dog. On May 24th, 1996, a bizarre dog-like beast called the snake-headed dog ran out in front of a car driven by a woman named Sheila Charles as she was taking her son to school in California. She swerved to avoid hitting the creature and veered out of control into a canyon. Unfortunately, nobody was badly injured, and the mysterious beast was later confirmed by the driver of the car following her, who had seen it as well. Hoop snake. The hoop snake is a legendary creature of the United States, Canada, and Australia. And basically, the snake is said to bite itself by the tail, swallow its tail, and roll around like a wheel. Alright, next up we're moving on to tier 9. First off, we have Crazy Critter of Bald Mountain. Crazy Critter of Bald Mountain are alleged insect-like creatures confronted by several shocked motorists during the evening of November 17, 1974 on Bald Mountain. That night, a fiery object in the sky was witnessed crashing into the earth near Bald Mountain, and within the week of this event, 2 parties in the area reported encountering a strange creature, horse-sized with tentacles and an antenna, with most notably giving off a strong green glow like a neon sign in the fog. These reports reached the local paper, and eventually the Lewis County Sheriff began an investigation, but was soon visited by heavily armed men claiming to be from the Air Force, and they insisted on taking over the investigation from him. Now, whether they captured the creature or managed to return it where it came from, nobody knows, but it was the last time it was ever heard of. Tornit. The Tornit is an ancient race of giant from the myths of the Inuit people of Canada, and it is believed that the Tornit were ancestors of the Inuit. According to legend, they were a bunch of friendly giants sharing the same hunting grounds as the fellow Inuit people in Cumberland Sound, and their great height and lanky arms meant that they were very quick on their feet and could throw javelins very far. However, their eyes were very weak compared to the Inuit, and they were extremely strong, and like most giants of folklore, they would pick up and move great big boulders around. Now, one story goes that a young Tornit had borrowed a young Inuit's kayak without permission and damaged the bottom of it, and the Inuit became very angry and stabbed the Tornit in the nape of the neck, while he was sleeping and killed him. The rest of the Tornets feared that they too would be killed by the Inuits and fled the country and were never seen again. Dracovac. The Dracovac was originally thought to have come from the souls of sinful men or from children who died unbaptized. It was popularly believed that they were only visible at night, especially during the 12 days of Christmas and in early spring when other demons and mythical creatures were believed to be more active. When assuming the form of a child, it predicts someone's death, and while it's in its animal form, it predicts cattle disease. The Dracovac is believed to avoid dogs in bright light. Also, it is believed that if the shadow of a Dracovac falls upon some person, then that person will turn sick and die. Setochin. The Setochin is a cryptid reported from the boreal forests of the Yukon in Canada, described as a large, dangerous animal which has been likened to a giant ground sloth. It was identified by multiple interviewees with an image of a giant ground sloth and is said to be a very large animal, larger than the biggest grizzly bears, and it allegedly feeds on beavers by flipping over their lodges. Strigoi. Strigoi in Romanian mythology are troubled spirits that are said to have risen from the grave, and they are attributed with the abilities to transform into an animal, become invisible, and to gain vitality from the blood of their victims. And Bram Stoker's Dracula has become the modern interpretation of the Strigoi through their historic links with vampirism. Hagen creature. Now, this picture is a reconstruction of a mysterious carcass that was found whilst ashore off Southern California about 34 years ago, and it was described as being 10 feet long with a bulky body-like creature that was likened to that of a walrus and with the unusual appearance of a platypus. Hide behind. The hide behind is a nocturnal, fearsome critter from American folklore that preys upon humans that wander the woods and was blamed for the disappearances of early loggers when they failed to return to camp. As the name suggests, the hide behind is noted for its ability to conceal itself, and when an observer attempts to look directly at it, the creature quickly hides behind an object or behind the observer, and therefore they cannot be directly seen. The hide behind uses this ability to stalk human prey without being observed and to attack them without warning. Pigman of Northfield. Sam Harris, also known as the Pigman, is a legend of a boy aged 17 that went missing in the hills of Northfield, Vermont in 1951. The night before Halloween on October 30th, Sam had set out with eggs in hand for what he called Picket Night, which was a night of mischief. The next morning when his parents awoke, they found him missing, and this set off a huge search party that lasted weeks and involved hundreds of locals around hundreds of square miles. Although never found, it is said that there had been sightings of Sam who some say became possessed by the devil himself on that fateful night. According to legend, Sam Harris is known to slaughter pigs and eat their entrails and hollow out the pig's head to wear over his, all while terrorizing the small New England town locals. Not deer. Not deer are variously described as looking like deer, but with there something being wrong with them, as they're like kind of off. Such as them having forward-facing eyes of a predator, or eyes that are judged to be too close together, a neck too long, a head that's misshapen, or legs that are judged to be too short and jointed or move in unnatural ways. Alleged sightings of not deer have been reported mostly in Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Connecticut, with some reported sightings as far away as Texas and Norway. Wagil. The Wagil is the Noongar manifestation of the rainbow serpent in Australian Aboriginal mythology from the culture based around the southwest of Western Australia. It is described as a snake-like dreaming creature responsible for the creation of the Swan and Canning rivers and other waterways and landforms around the present-day Perth and southwest of Western Australia. It was delegated to protect the rivers, lakes, springs, and wildlife, and Wagil sacred sites tend to be natural sun traps located beside the bodies of water. Grootslang. The Grootslang is a legendary creature that is said to dwell deep in a cave in the Richardsveld, South Africa. The Grootslang is said to be a huge elephant-sized serpent that dwells in a cave known as the Wanderhole or Bottomless Pit, and supposedly the cave connects to the sea 64 kilometers away. According to local legend, the cave is filled with diamonds, and while searching for this treasure in 1917, English businessman Peter Grayson disappeared after members of his party were attacked and injured by lions, prompting the rumors that the Grootslang had killed him. Nupepo. The Nupepo is a yokai that appears in Edo period yokai and is depicted with indistinguishable wrinkles on its face and body as a one head of a blob of meat. It appears as a blob of flesh with a hint of face in the folds of fat, and is sometimes described as constructed of the flesh of dead humans, similar to Frankenstein's monster. Salawa. The Salawa is a cryptid that has some relation with the chimerical beast of the god Seth in Egyptian mythology called Shah. It is depicted as a slender dog resembling a greyhound or jackal with three distinguishing features: a stiff tail and often forked at the end, which stands straight up or at an angle, and its ears are also held erect, and it is usually depicted as squarish or triangle, narrowest at the base and widest at the squarish tops, with a long nose that has a slight downward curve, and is normally depicted as black, but also may have been reddish. Kangamato. Kangamatos are large pterosaur-like cryptids living in semi-tropical regions of Africa, particularly in Zambia, the Congo, and Angola. The Kangamatos are said to have capsized the canoes of natives and attacked people who ventured too close to the nearby rivers. It is described as a reddish lizard with wings and teeth in its beak, and the wingspan ranges from 4 to 100 feet across. Imela nukuta. The Imela nukuta is a neodinosaurian cryptid reported from the rainforest swamps and rivers of the Republic of the Congo and Southwest Central African Republic, described as a horned animal, which has been compared to the rhinoceroses and ceratopsian dinosaurs. It is frequently synonymized with the older but now lesser known Zambian water rhinoceros, as well as certain reports of other forest rhinoceroses. Adjule. The adjule or bush dog is a canine-like animal cryptid claimed to live in the North African region close to the Sahara Desert, reported in 1928, and today is described as an undiscovered variety of the African wild dog. Described as being approximately 2.5 feet tall, with feet that are webbed and having rough, thick crimson-colored skin that has a bluish tint, and they are said to not be lone creatures, but often hunt in packs that number from 3 to 13. Alaskan giant polar bear. The Alaskan giant polar bear is an enormous white bear, much bigger than the Kodiak brown bear, that is a creamy white and has hair on the pads of its feet and is mentioned in Alaskan folklore. Yeah, man, but it's just a giant polar bear. Do you think they drink giant cokes? Fiskerton phantom. The Fiskerton phantom was first reported in August 27th, 1997 by 4 girls who were staying at a caravan park next to a pub at Short Ferry, which was a small hamlet next to Fiskerton. They described seeing a 4-foot-tall jet-black ear-sign creature eating a pheasant, and the girls, scared, fled immediately and sought help in the pub, and when they returned, they saw large paw prints. Motorists reported seeing the beast again that evening near where the girls saw the critter, and in 2011, it was reported again various times. Silver cat. The silver cat is a bizarre creature which was first reported by the frontiersmen of North America. It is said to be a large feline creature weighing at about 300 pounds, sporting tasseled ears, and possessed horizontal rather than vertical slits in his eyes. The silver cat's most distinguishing feature is its tail, which is 11 feet long and as powerful as that of a boa constrictor, and it ends in a bony club-like growth which is spiked on one side, yet smooth and hard on the other. Dingmaul. The dingmaul was a cat-like creature told in the tales of lumberjacks, and is a large cat-like animal with wolf-like skin and a sad expression on their face. They have long bodies with short, powerful legs. They have tufted ears and glowing eyes and a long tail that is half their body length with a spiky ball at the end. Carmel area creature. The Carmel area creature is a puzzling humanoid sighted in Carmel, Ohio, and it is described as a tall gray with presumably no arms and long muscular legs. It is bipedal and walks in an odd manner with its backward bending knees. Minotaur. In Greek mythology, the Minotaur is a mythical creature portrayed in classical times with the head and tail of a bull and the body of a man, or also being described as part man, part bull. In canonical fiction, it dwelt in the center of the labyrinth, which was an elaborate maze-like construction designed by Daedalus and his son Icarus, and the Minotaur was eventually killed by Theseus. Tall white aliens. The name tall white aliens has been attributed to these creatures as they resemble a gray alien, but only being much taller than the common gray alien. It's thought that the tall white aliens possibly used genetic manipulations to arrive at their current appearance. They're said to be between 6 and 7 feet tall, with even ones taller up to 7 feet 5, and their tall, slender bodies have a pale chalk white color. Two-toed Tom. Two-toed Tom is a legendary alligator in the southern United States who terrorized swamp residents in Florida and Alabama, and the name originates from the legendary alligator having lost all but 2 toes from getting caught in a steel trap. The story originated in the 1920s, and one of the earliest written accounts could be traced to 1934. And the story written about him, referred to as Two-Toed Tom, was a 14-foot alligator who would regularly eat farmers' livestock as well as men and women. And it was also claimed that it would rape women before eating them. Jake the Alligator Man. Jake the Alligator Man is alleged half man, half alligator creature on display in apparently a mummified condition at Marsh's Free Museum. Yeah, it's just like a museum type thing. Dijiang. The Dijiang is a mountain patron god in Chinese mythology and is one of the mythical beasts featured in the Chinese classic of the mountains and seas. It is described as having a yellow sack-like physique with a red aura of cinnabar encompassing an emptiness like the cosmos, and has 6 legs and 4 wings, but no eyes or facial features of any kind, indicating directionless movement. It lives in a perpetual state of confusion and causes chaos wherever it goes, and is said to be fond of singing and dancing. Yara Mayahu. The Yaramayahu is a legendary creature found in the Australian Aboriginal mythology, and according to legend, the creature resembles a little red-like frog man with a very big head, large mouth, and no teeth, and suckers on the ends of its hands and feet. It's said to live in fig trees, and instead of hunting for food, it is described as waiting for an unsuspecting traveler to rest under the tree, and then the creature drops down and uses its suckers to drain the victim's blood. Tiddalik. The Tale of Tiddalik the Frog is a creation story from Australian indigenous dreaming stories, and in the telling of this story, Tiddalik awoke one morning with an unquenchable thirst and began to drink until all the fresh water was greedily consumed, and creatures and all plant life everywhere began to die due to lack of moisture. So the animals conspired to make Tiddalik open his mouth for him to release all the water, and this was coordinated by all the animals, and they eventually made him laugh, and he spit out all the water into the lakes, swamps, and rivers. Diplocalus. Diplocalus is an extinct genus of amphibians which lived from the late Carboniferous to Permian periods of North America and Africa. Apparently it had a stocky salamander-like body, but was relatively large, reaching up to 3.3 feet in length. Ponic. The Ponic is a monster from the lake Pohenegumuk in Canada. There have been more than 1,000 alleged sightings of this creature, and they all described it differently, but the general consensus is that it is 35 to 60 feet long, with 2 or 3 humps and a sail across the whole spine, flippers, and a barrel-like neck and horse-shaped head. Nguma Monene. Nguma Monene is a cryptid supposedly living in Central Africa and the Congo, and is described as a huge serpentine lizard. It's about 30 to 50 feet long and 2 to 3 feet wide. It's grayish brown, and its head and neck are snake-like. Apparently, the cryptid is amphibious and moves rapidly through swamps, eating birds and monkeys. Crocodile frog. The crocodile frog is a rarely sighted phenomenon from Borneo, described as a crocodile frog hybrid, and it was described as being 7 to 9 feet long with slimy skin, a pointed head, and overdeveloped hind legs and a short tail. The description doesn't exactly match any known modern animal, although an injured or malformed crocodile could fit the description. Mahamba. Mahamba is a cryptid rumored to lurk in the Democratic Republic of the Congo's Lake Likuala around the swamp region. It's said that the cryptid is an enormous crocodile reaching up to lengths of 50 feet, and some have speculated that it is a freshwater relic of the mosasaurs, which is a huge sea-dwelling lizard that were presumed extinct by the end of the Cretaceous period. Sul Kalu. Sul Kalu, also known as the Cherokee Devil, is a legendary figure of Cherokee mythology who plays a role in the Great Lord of the Game, quote unquote, and is frequently involved in hunting rites and ritual. Pretty big guy. Getsko. Getsko is a legendary humanoid that, according to stories, that used to live in Poland around the 19th century. The stories and relations about the creature are very scarce, with one being about a Cossack going into the woods to kill the alleged hominid, only then to return with his headless body still on the horse. The neck was examined, and it was clear that his head was ripped off. The second story about it involves a boy that during a large storm got lost in the woods in the Getsko's territory and was held captive by the creature until the storm passed over. Then he ran to the village and told everybody what had happened. Rake creature climbing on roof. Now this is just this video. Check it out.
I can hear something up there. Hear that? Hear that? Oh my God. Gotta climb on the These are the shingles. Hello? Oh my god!
Canadian monster stalking moose. Again, just another video. Check it out, check it out, check it out, check it out. Alright, next up we're moving on to tier 10. Let's go. Catalonia Fallen Angel. The Catalonia Fallen Angel was a strange humanoid cryptid that was filmed in a forest near Catalonia, Spain. And most people speculate that the creature is a humanoid and is nearly skeleton, as if suffering from anorexia. And the body seems to be almost identical to a human that possesses glowing eyes. Water babies of Massacre Rocks. Now this is just an urban legend that states a terrible famine overtook the land of the Shoshone Indians, and they could not feed themselves, nor could they feed any new mouse, and mothers were forced to drown their newborn babies in the local rivers and lakes. It's said that some of these babies adapted to the lake, grew tails and fins and gills, and survived the famine by feasting on tadpoles and small fish. Now they can be seen playing in the canals and rivers around the Shoshone-Bannock Reservation, and their laughter can be heard as they attempt to lure unsuspecting humans to their death. Spiteful Mermaid of Pyramid Lake. Now this is another urban legend, and the story basically goes that one day a mermaid married one of the members of the Paitu tribe, only to have the marriage disapproved, leaving her banished from the area. The rest of the story goes that the saddened mermaid promised revenge to any of the tribe members that came to the shores of Pyramid Lake. Big Red Eye. The Big Red Eye is New Jersey's own version of Bigfoot. While the description of the creature generally matches that of Bigfoot, with long hair and the ability to walk on its hind legs, but it differs from the infamous cryptid, being that it has glowing red eyes. Solomon Island Giants. Solomon Island giants were said to be over 10 feet tall, with evidence suggesting that some cows there could grow much taller, so that I guess they use them on the farm or The surprising features of the Solomon Island giants are similar to other creatures around the world like Bigfoot and the Mongolian almas. Chain Nam. The chain nam, or water elephant, is native to the jungle streams of Thailand. It is no bigger than a rat, but has a trunk and sharp little tusks and all the hallmarks of elephants. Missouri River Monster. The Missouri River Monster appears to be mostly passive and somewhat friendly, and here's a video of it. It's USS Stein Monster. The USS Stein Monster was a creature that apparently attacked the class destroyer escort USS Stein, and in 1976 the ship was attacked by an unknown species of giant squid, and they said that the creature was about 150 feet in length. Jeez, man, jeez. Argan Nalcalta. Argan Nalcalta is the father or owner of the snakes in Argentinian Toba folklore. It can be found in a range of habitats, but usually likes rivers and deep caves with access to water. In addition to snakes, which are all under its command, it is associated with water, rainbows, and storms. It appears as a large multicolored snake, 10 or more meters in length, and its tail ends in 2 hooks, which it uses to hold prey. Auli. Auli is a cryptid claimed to inhabit the coast of Ayia Napa in Cyprus, and although there have been no reports of it causing any harm, it has also been reported to drag away and rip up fishing nets. It has been speculated to be something like a crocodile or a serpent. Lake Harrington Monster. The Lake Harrington Monster is a strange lake monster of Lake Harrington that looks like a mix between a pig and a serpent, and people say it's 12 to 15 feet long and moves as fast as a speedboat. And witnesses have reported this creature to be very shy, usually staying far away from the boat that they are on. Rusalka. In Slavic folklore, the Rusalka is typically a feminine entity, often malicious towards mankind and frequently associated with water, and folklorists have proposed a variety of origins for the entity, including that it may have been originally stemmed from Slavic paganism, where they may have been seen as benevolent spirits. It is accounted by most stories that they involved the soul of a young woman who died in or near a river and would come back to haunt that waterway, and this undead Rusalka is not invariably malevolent, and would be allowed to die in peace if her death is avenged. Her main purpose, however, is to lure young men seduced by either her looks or her voice into the depths of the said waterways, where she would entangle their feet with her long red hair and submerge them. Or on some occasions, she would tickle them to death. Yeah, tickle. That's not so bad. It's not so bad. Oh, jeez. Jeez. Old spider legs. Old spider legs is a mysterious creature sighted in America during the 19th century by a lumberjack. And according to the witness report, as he was traveling through the forest, he heard a quick and numerous galloping noise. And he got a clear sight of a horse that had 8 legs positioned like a spider's leg. And many have heard of it since, but none have seen it ever again. Campfire creature. The campfire creature is a humanoid zombie or alien-like creature allegedly caught on videotape walking on all fours behind the trees where 2 young men were camping. Here's the video, here's a video, here's a video, here's a video. Baloko. Baloko is a term in a Mongo Nukundo language referring to a kind of dwarf-like creature that lives in the forest, and they are believed to be the spirits of ancestors of the people living there. Legend is that they haunt the forest because they have some grudge to settle with the living and are generally quite vicious, as they lived in the densest and darkest part of a rainforest in central Zaire. They have no hair and only grass grows on their bodies, and they have piercing eyes, snouts with mouths that can be opened wide enough to eat a human body, alive or dead, and long, sharp claws. Lucrocuta. Lucrocuta is an extremely speedy beast that either has a horse's or badger's head with large bony gum instead of teeth that stretches from ear to ear. Being about the size of a donkey, the creature is described in various ways, including being part lion, horse, hyena, or badger, and one version describes this monster as having a horse's head, front legs, body, and tail of a lion with the hindquarters of a horse. Another depiction having it sporting a badger's head, the neck, tail, and breast of a lion with horse's legs and rears. Crowing crested cobra. Crowing crested cobras are cryptid snakes reported from several Central African nations, particularly Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Malawi. Often compared to the mythical cockatrice, these alleged snakes are distinguished by their cockerel vocalizations and similarly gal-line crests or waddles, although both features do not always occur together. There are also reports of ordinary looking snakes making crowing vocalizations, and those are more common. Anidi tiger. The Anidi tiger is a cryptid said to be a living saber-toothed cat reported from the Anidi Plateau, and according to various tribes, the animals are usually described as cats larger than a lion with reddish fur and often vertical white stripes. All are said to have very long teeth protruding beyond their lips and either very short tails or no tails at all. They're mostly nocturnal and are supposed to be strong enough to carry very, very heavy prey, and allegedly carries its prey hoisted on his back. Iceberg. I think that's how you say it. It's ridiculous. The Iceberg is a cryptid that lives in Canada and Alaska and is supposedly a type of land-dwelling eared pinniped. Facts about its breeding, behavior, and diet are known due to the fact that sightings are extremely rare, and the locals say that this remarkable creature is almost extinct. Nukluk. The Nukluk is a hominid reported in the National Park Reserve near Nahanni Butte, Northwest Territories, Canada between April and June 1964. It was described as a Bigfoot-like creature, but less ape and more Neanderthal-like in resemblance, and it was about 5 feet tall and it had a long dark beard and wore no clothes. Giant cookie cutter shark. The giant cookie cutter shark is a cryptid shark speculated to exist in the northern Pacific Ocean in Arctic waters off Alaska. The rationale behind this speculation was the discovery of a dead narwhal with extremely large bites in it, and yeah, the round bites resemble that of a cookie cutter shark's mouth, so they just assumed, it's a giant cookie cutter shark. GG bird. The GG bird was a strange bird reported to live in North America and was described as soldiers in World War II positioned in Alaska. Listen to this one, man. Although the bird was never seen, the bird could be heard making a strange noise as it flew by, and it made the sound, and I quote, GG Jesus, it's cold. Fuck. GG Jesus, it's cold. God damn, bro. Why is it so deep on the list, bro? Wahila. Similar to the Ontario white wolf and often considered to be the same animal, the wahila is a large wolf-like creature said to inhabit Alaska and the Northwest Territories. It is larger and more heavily built than normal wolves with a wide head and proportionally larger feet with long, pure white fur. The animal's hind legs are said to be shorter than the front, and the tracks show widely spaced toes, and it is described as being 3.5 to 4 feet at the shoulder. Native legends describe the Wahila as an evil spirit with supernatural powers and describe it as killing people and removing their heads. Quincan rock art refers to a large body of locally, nationally, and internationally significant Aboriginal rock art in Australia of a style characterized by their unique representations of the quote-unquote Quincans found among the sandstone and escarpments of the small town of Laura, Queensland. Yeah, just look at them. Good art. But it's like some people speculate what were these people trying to represent. You know what I mean? You get it? You know what I mean? Yeah, you know. Brains of Palos Verde. Brains of Palos Verde was a sighting that took place on the night of August 17, 1971 in Palo Verde, California, and the witnesses described the creatures as being simply brain-like in appearance, and that they were bluish in color and shrouded by a strange localized vapor. They were described as being approximately the size of an overgrown softball, while the second one had the dimensions of a human torso and seemed to have a red eye-like organ wedged into the center of his frontal lobe. Labincure monster. For centuries, reports of a large underwater creature have come from people living near the remote lake Labincure in Siberia, and a team of scientists from the Russian Geographical Society report that they found the skeletal remains of an animal that fits the description of the monster of Lake Labincure, but skeptics have yet to be convinced that the creature exists. Sapo de Loma. Sapo de Loma is said to be an oversized toad living in the lakes and rivers of the Andes Mountains located in Chile and Peru, and is known to eat medium-sized birds as well as large rodents. Blue-nosed frog. This cryptid is from North Cameroon, but allegedly was found in England. Apparently, on July 1997, at an animal fair in England, a man called Jonathan Downs said he saw a man selling 3 frogs with blue glowing noses. And after the fair was done, Jonathan discovered that there is no species of frog similar to those that he saw known to science. Snaufus. The snaufus is a creature from the tales of lumberjacks emerging in the United States, and the snaufus is a white deer with wings and huge antlers that lives in the woods of Ozark Mountains in the United States. The antlers of the snaufus are said to be the living branches of a dogwood tree and are often depicted as having blossoms on them as well as green leaves. It is said to be able to leap from the forest floor to the tops of trees and perch on the smallest of branches like a squirrel. It also is said to exhale a blue mist from its mouth, which drifts upwards towards the sky, forming a blue haze of clouds. Oldiani monster. The Oldiani monster is supposedly a lost species of chameleon found in Tanzania, and yeah, apparently it was captured by a couple people and its remains were preserved for a short time, and experts were unable to determine the animal's identity, and the remains were eventually lost. How about that? Ghost insects. Now these are just these big ass stick bugs, man. They're stick bugs. They're also called ghost insects. I never knew that until I had to figure this out. But yeah, stick bugs, man. Weird looking fuckers. Excuse me. All right, we're moving on to tier 11. Yes, yeah. Let's go. Zeteron. A zeteron or sea knight is a mythological creature that has the upper body in the form of an armed knight fused with the tail of a fish. Jinmenju. The Jinmenju is a strange tree, and the legend has it that the tree grows in the remote mountains of valleys of China, and its fruit appear to be human heads, and the faces are always smiling or laughing, even as they fall from the branch. Venus scorpion. A Russian scientist claimed to find life on Venus after analyzing photographs taken by a Soviet satellite that landed on the planet 30 years ago, and he said, in the picture, it looks like a scorpion-shaped body and disc that moves when the camera is recording. Boot. A boot is a supernatural creature, usually the ghost of a deceased person, in the popular culture, literature, and some ancient texts of the Indian subcontinent. They are usually considered to be extremely restless due to some factor that prevents them from moving on to nirvana or heaven or hell, and this reasoning could be that they had a violent death, unsettled matters in their lives, or simply the failure of their survivors to perform proper funerals. Krasu. The Krasu is a nocturnal female spirit of Southeast Asian folklore, and it manifests itself as a woman, usually young and beautiful, with her internal organs hanging down the back of her neck, trailing below the head. The spirit moves around by hovering in the air above the ground, for it has no lower body, and the throat may be represented in a different variety of ways, either as a trachea or the whole neck. The organs below the neck usually include the heart and the stomach, with the length of the intestine, and the intestinal tract emphasizes emphasizing the ghost's ferocious nature. Nine-headed bird. The nine-headed bird is one of the earliest forms of mythological bird worshipped by ancient natives in Hubei in the Kingdom of Chu. And due to the hostile relationship between the Kingdom of Chu and its former overlord, the reigning Zhao dynasty, the nine-headed bird, being the totem of the Chu people, was demonized as a result. Braxa. The Braxa in Jewish folklore is a bird that is said to suck the milk of goats and sometimes human blood during the night. In medieval Portugal, the Braxa was considered to be a shape-shifting entity as a witch in female form and in male form a demon. It has been speculated that this creature was derived from a Jewish myth. Chonchon. The chonchon is a mythical bird from the Mapuche religion, also present in Chilean and southern Argentinian folk myth. It said that powerful calcus, or sorcerers, could aspire to master the secret of becoming this feared creature. The calcu, or sorcerer, would carry out this transformation by an act of will and by being anointed a magical cream in the throat that eases the removal of the head from the rest of the body, and with the head then removed, they become the creature. It has the shape of a human head with feathers and talons, and its ears, which are extremely large, serve as wings for its flight on moonless nights. Bugbear. Bugbear is a legendary creature or a type of hobgoblin comparable to the boogeyman and other creatures of folklore, all of which were historically used in some cultures to frighten disobedient children. Vietnamese night flyers. To this day, there's been only one sighting of the creatures that became known as the Vietnamese night flyers, and according to the only documented encounter, a group of 3 U.S. Marines in 1969, while on guard duty in South Vietnam, sighted a group of creatures that were unclothed, hair-covered, feminine figures, all of which approximately were 5 feet tall, flying over their posts in the dead of the night. They further claimed that they could hear the leathery flapping of their black wings as the fur covered the female figures that soared above. Hanako-san. Hanako-san is a Japanese urban legend about the spirit of a young girl named Hanako-san who haunts school toilets. And yeah, there's a lot of origins, and the most common story is that she's the ghost of a girl from World War II era who was playing hide and seek during an air raid, and she was murdered by a parent or stranger, or that she committed suicide. Big Bird. Big Bird is the name of a cryptid that flew over the Rio Grande area in 1976, and most witnesses describe this unknown mysterious animal as about 5 feet tall, featherless, and having a long beak, bat-like wings, and a monkey face. All of the following reports have since come from the Rio Grande area where it was sighted. Kansas City Winged Demon. The Kansas City Winged Demon has apparently been sighted a handful of times in Kansas City, Missouri, and has been described as the size of a man or taller with a 12-foot wingspan, and the wings were leathery like a bat's in the face of that of a quote-unquote ugly man. When on land, it moves in a wobbly way, and it is apparently strong enough to shake a house. Fern flower. The fern flower is a magic flower in Baltic mythology and in Slavic mythology, and according to the myth, the flower blooms for a very short time on the eve of the summer solstice, and the flower brings fortune to the person who finds it. In various versions of the tale, the fern flower brings luck, wealth, or the ability to understand animal speech. However, the flower is closely guarded by evil spirits, and anyone who finds the flower will have access to earthly riches, so the decision to pick up the flower is left alone to the individual that finds it. Lock Ridge Monster. The Lock Ridge Monster is a name given to a Sasquatch found in Jefferson County, Iowa in the fall of 1975, and apparently it stands on 2 feet, walks like a man, covered with hair, and has an ape-like face. It has been known to kill chickens, rabbits, raccoons, pigs, turkeys, and sometimes even crows, and mutilates the bodies, often not eating all of the kill. Tokandia. The Tokandia was a cryptid reported from the Madagascar, described as a huge jumping quadruped which climbs into the trees where it lives, and its face is not that of a man, although the cry is. However, it was suggested that Tokandia may be represented by a late surviving example of a giant lemur. Lechuza. The Lechuza are shape-shifting witches or spirits in Hispanic folklore, and they appear as a human-sized bird with a woman's face, and the backstory behind them is that they were women who have sold their souls to the devil in exchange for magical powers, and at night they transform into monsters with a bird's body and a woman's face, similar to depictions of harpies in Greek mythology, and then they fly through the night in search of prey. Kikian. The Kikian is a supposed owl-like cryptid from Africa, and is described as resembling a large owl, especially its head, and has a huge beak and raking talons on its arms and feet. In many aspects, it is represented as a mixture of bird and human, and it is said that it has a huge pair of feathered wings which grow from its back, and its shoulder joint is tipped with a sharp spur which is used as a deadly weapon. Gutenberg Island bird. The Gutenberg Island bird is... Oh, Jesus Christ. The Gutenberg Island bird is a mystery bird reported from Gutenberg Island, Papua New Guinea, with black plumage the size of a small crow, long tail, and yeah, purple glob. Now, the purple glob is supposedly a UFO that was spotted in the 1950s and dissolved as it was approached by police officers into a purple glob. Alien big dog. The alien big dog is described as like a large dog, but with certain peculiar features such as dark color, small ears, long snout, short legs, long tail, and apparently it often kills livestock and drinks the blood instead of eating the animal. Puchin. Puchin is a creature from Mapuche mythology and Chilate mythology pertaining to southern Chile, which was a much feared shape-shifting creature that can instantly change into animal form. It has often been described as a gigantic flying snake which produced strange whistling sounds, while its gaze could instantly paralyze an intended victim and permit it to suck its blood. Arkansas snipe. The Arkansas snipe is a fearsome critter in the form of a giant insect, and the legend tells that a lumberjack was lost in Arkansas and he went up a hill to orient himself, and when he came back his horse wasn't where he left it, and apparently 2 Arkansas snipes ate the horse, chomped the saddle, and spat out the horseshoes. You know the snipe? The snipe? Masbate monster. The Masbate monster is a 40-foot long bovine featured aquatic creature that was discovered by natives on Masbate Island, but before it could be delivered into the hands of science, it was sold to a local butcher for its meat. It was described as being an eel-like creature with dark, possibly scaly flesh, a turtle-like head, and seemingly mammalian blowhole, and came complete with long tail and 4 flippers. Babe the Blue Ox. Babe the Blue Ox is just a character from Paul Bunyan. He's a blue ox found in the snow by Paul Bunyan and becomes best friends. Yeah. Camahueto. The Camahueto is a figure from Chilate mythology and is described as having the form of a calf or bull with a small horn on its forehead, similar to a unicorn. Sucuridru gigante. Now this is said to be a giant snake that controls the rivers it lives in, and there are many ancient tales that say it made the Amazon River. It's just basically a giant anaconda. Mempher. In Canadian folklore, the Mempher is a lake monster said to live in Lake Memphremagog, and yeah. Headless Newfoundland globster. This was a carcass of a large headless monstrosity of unknown origin that was discovered on a beach on Newfoundland's Bay of Islands lower north shore. Happy-Zee-Lore. In Canadian folklore, this is said to be a creature that lives in Muskrat Lake. It is variously described, for example, as a walrus or as a 3-eyed Loch Ness monster-like creature, and legend claims that it was sighted as early as the 17th century. Angioa. The Angioa is an enormous fish or whale of Inuit mythology, and the monster is described as being solid black with a humongous fin and 50 to 60 feet long. Apparently it's very hostile, and sometimes it even overturns kayaks for fun and possibly drowns and eats humans. Old Yellow Top. Old Yellow Top was an individual Bigfoot or Bigfoot-like cryptid reported from Cobalt, Ontario, Canada from 1906 to 1970, and he was named after its yellowish mane. El Lobison. El Lobison is the name of a monstrous creature from Guarani mythology, and the name literally means wolf man, and Stiltwalkers. Texas stiltwalkers, also known as striders, are massive-sized cryptids reported primarily but not strictly from the southwest USA, especially Texas. They are characterized by their enormous size, stick-thin frame, and their elongated legs which reach far above the trees and step over houses with ease, and their head is distinguishable by 2 piercing, headlamp-like eyes. Blue Albino Woman. The Blue Albino Woman is a ghoulish cannibalistic lady that is located in Topeka, Texas, and she can mostly be seen at the Rochester Cemetery at night, and she is known to devour human flesh. Alright, now we're moving on to Tier 12. Alaquis. The Alaquis is a cannibal giant reported by the natives of Western Canada, and it is covered completely in hair. Mini T-Rex. Now this was about a newly found dinosaur skeleton discovered in China that looked like the remains of a T-Rex. Its head was large compared to its body, and its strong legs suggest that the animal was quick on its feet and was a bit smaller than the T-Rex, thus Mini T-Rex. Te Kaluta carcass. Now, this was a carcass that was about 35 tons of something big and dead that was found on the beach in Tecoluta, Mexico in March 1969. That received a great deal of publicity, and after it was examined, it was stated that they could not match it with any sea creature known to man. East River Monster. Now, this was a report that a bizarre serpentine scaly pit bull headed carcass had been discovered beneath the legendary Brooklyn Bridge. Apparently, it had the scales of a fish, body of a serpent, and head of a pit bull, and was the size of a large alligator. D. Ritter Roadkill. Here's a picture of it. This was just some roadkill that a woman had taken a picture of. She described the carcass as being the size of an adult Saint Bernard, and yeah. River Mama. River Mama is an urban legend from Jamaica, and it says that the River Mama inhabits the rivers of Jamaica, and all the fish are the River Mama's children. And it's said that you shouldn't touch the River Mama and not even look at her. Some say if you see too much of her, you'll fall into a trance and she'll grab you by the heels and drag you under the river. And if you try to catch her, the fish will disappear and the river will run dry. Chikarni. The Chikarni is a legendary creature in the folklore of the Andros Island in the Bahamas, and is said to live in the forest, is furry or feathered, and is about 3 feet tall, with an ugly appearance resembling an owl. In common legend, if a traveler meets a Chikarni and treats it well, they will receive good luck, while treating a Chikarni badly will result in bad luck in hard times. Jamaican Red Parrot. The Jamaican Red Parrot is a hypothetical species of parrot that lived in Jamaica, and the only reported specimen was shot on Jamaica around 1765 and was later stuffed, and since then the specimen has been lost. Algerian Sea Centipede. The Algerian Sea Centipede was an aquatic centipede-like crab, and its first appearance was in a movie. Encantado. The Encantado are water cryptids that live in the Amazon, and they are basically dolphin men or were-dolphins. They're considered friends of fishermen in the Amazonian region and helps with fishing and safely conducting canoes during storms. Fei Lian. Fei Lian is a Chinese god of the wind or Fang Bo, and he is a winged dragon with the head of a deer and tail of a snake, and he carries wind with him in a bag and stirs up trouble. Hippo Turtle Ox. The Hippo Turtle Ox is a supposed singularly strange looking animal that supposed lineage has become extinct elsewhere, but yeah, they were said to be restricted to the Indian subcontinent and the Himalayas. Chinese giant snake. Now, this was a photograph that allegedly showed a 55-foot snake found in a forest in China, and yeah, it quickly went viral after it was taken. Hong Kong Beast. Now, this was a strange creature that was said to be seen in March 1955. Apparently, police searched for the hairy beast, as it said to terrify residents, and was a shaggy animal over 6 feet tall. A man allegedly got in a fight with it where he punched it in the stomach, but the creature fell on him and they grappled for some time. The creature then went away, loping on all fours, and yeah, that was the last of it that was ever seen. Kalanoro. The Kalanoro is a humanoid cryptid said to live deep in Madagascar. And according to the people of Madagascar, the Kalanoro have been on the island for more than 2,000 years, and when people migrated to the island, the first encounters started to occur. Sigbin. The Sigbin is a creature in Philippine mythology that is said to come out at night and suck the blood of its victims from the shadows. It is said to walk backwards with its head lowered between its hind legs and to have the ability to become invisible to other creatures, especially humans. It resembles a hornless goat, but has very large ears that can clap like a pair of hands and a long flexible tail that can be used as a whip. Aitveras. Aitveras is a nature spirit in Lithuanian mythology, and apparently looks like a white or black rooster with a fiery tail like a meteor, and is said to hatch from an egg from a 9 to 15-year-old rooster. If an Aitveras dies, it becomes a literal spark. Spiny-backed chimpanzee. The spiny-backed chimpanzee is a bizarre creature reported from the Democratic Republic of Congo, and apparently it was encountered sometime between 1997 and 2002 when a member of a unit from the United States Navy and his team encountered 13 bipedal chimpanzees that were attempting to kill another animal, and these chimpanzees were the spiny-backed, chimps that were 4 to 5 feet tall, gray in color, with a series of spines running down each chimp's back. Nzefuloi. The Nzefuloi was a cryptid reported from the lakes and wetlands of the Upemba Depression in the southeastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, and it was distinguished by its heavy tusks, and it has often been associated with neo-dinosaurs, water elephants, and water lions. Dodu. The dodo is a cryptohominid reported from the rainforests of southeastern Cameroon, described as a large primate with only 3 digits, and it was also noted for its unusual diet, reportedly killing animals, allowing them to rot, and then later feeding on the maggots that were attracted to the carcasses. Jimboseth. The Jimboseth is an enormous lake monster that is said to inhabit the African Congo and is often described as having the body of a fish, head of a pig or ox, a flat round tail, and most peculiar, it is said to have human-like hands instead of fins. They're supposedly rare creatures and very difficult to catch due to their hostile nature, but are considered a local delicacy. Pink alligators. Just pink fucking alligators, man. That's all I got for you, bro. Mingo. The Mingo are a fictional race of extraterrestrials created by H.P. Lovecraft and used by others in the Cthulhu mythos setting, and the aliens are fungus-based life forms which are extremely varied due to their prodigious surgical, biological, chemical, and mechanical skill, and they're pinkish fungoid crustacean-like entities the size of a man, where they have pyramided fleshy rings and are covered in antennae, and they're about 5 feet long, and they fly. Giant freshwater crustaceans. Now these are crabs or lobsters inhabiting the area around the Ulloa Lake that appear heavily in the tales of early settlers in Oregon. Although no true lobsters live on the Pacific coast, there are reported sightings of many large crabs. Underwater flies. In British Columbia, there are legends of creatures called the underwater flies that are found in lakes, ponds, and rivers across the province, and they crawl around on the ground but are black and have a body shape of that of a fly, and they're the size of an adult's hands. They are highly venomous, and a bite from an underwater fly can reportedly kill a person. Hairy lizard. The hairy lizard was a strange carcass found on Mount Albert Edward in Papua New Guinea, and the creature appears to be a small lizard-like animal with large eye sockets and remnants of long grayish-brown hair. Bloodless howler. Allegedly, there have been many sightings of the bloodless howler since 1929, and is said to have the head of a big cat and the body of a dog. Legend says it weighs at least 400 pounds. Grafton monster. The Grafton monster is a large humanoid cryptid said to reside in the forest around Grafton, West Virginia, in the United States. The monster is claimed to be a large bipedal creature with no visible head and covered in slick and white seal-like skin. It's unclear if it does not have a head or if its head is simply close to its chest, and it is speculated to be between 7 and 9 feet tall and 4 feet wide. Snarly Owl. Snarly Owl has allegedly roamed the mountains near Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, possibly since the first Germans settled upon Potomac Valley in the early 1700s, and its name is derived from Germanic words that describe a whale that emanates from a toothy mouth. Blue Thing. Now the Blue Thing is a cryptid that was sighted in Wisconsin in 1999. Basically, a hiker saw a person that they thought was wearing blue clothing and riding a bicycle, but they soon realized that there was no bicycle, and in fact it was a blue humanoid that was somehow gliding along the path. Skeleton on the Moon. The skeleton on the moon is an urban legend about a human skeleton that was discovered by the Apollo 11 lunar module, and bizarrely enough, it was said to be wearing a plaid shirt and blue jeans. Richard Grabenic creature. Now, I'm just gonna show you guys a video. Just look at the video.
Can you hear me now?
A little bit. Yeah.
Alright, you're not gonna believe this. I got it on video now. People think I'm nuts. It's on video. It's playing right now. I put the iPad in the window, and now this thing's coming up to the steps in my backyard, Mike.
What's coming up?
It's like a weird demonic looking thing, and it's like a human, and it's all scratched down. And this is the second time this happened this week, and as I'm talking to you, this is all on recorded, and it doesn't see me. I'm in that that sunroom. All right, I've been putting the iPad out. It's about around, and it happened. Weird things been happening around this time at night.
Can I record it?
You're on record. Everything's recording now. I can see the thing. It's like looking around weird.
Aerial School aliens. Now, in 1994, 60 children at Aerial School in Rua, Zimbabwe said they saw a UFO and aliens with big eyes land near their school playground, and the story was reported all around the world. And yeah, it was a pretty big story because it was like over 60 kids. They all described like the same shit. And there were also strange reports of lights and quote-unquote craft in the sky in other parts of Zimbabwe, as well as Zambia and South Africa. Manatee of Helena. The manatee of Helena is a creature believed to have once inhabited the coast of St. Helena, an island supposed to be largely populated by manatees during the days of colonization. And unlike known manatee species, Helena manatees were semi-aquatic, meaning they often came onto the land like seals. There's no evidence to prove its existence, and only 2 eyewitness accounts have been reported. Riri carjackers. The Riri carjacker sighting was an extraterrestrial sighting that took place in 1967 near Riri, Idaho. And 2 witnesses were driving home after a night of drinking when their path was blocked by a flying saucer, and the dome of the saucer opened and the occupants floated down and entered the car, taking the driver's seat. The invader proceeded to drive the car a short distance into a field and stopped, and one of the witnesses took the opportunity to get out the car and headed for the closest building for help, while the other one remained at the car, and the alien driver meanwhile started chattering incomprehensibly, sounding like a woman or a bird. Shortly afterward, it returned with its companion into the flying saucer, which flew away into the night sky. Alright, moving on to tier 13. Pendili egg. The Pendili egg sighting was an extraterrestrial sighting that took place during April of 1977 in Attica, Greece, and the witnesses were out hiking when they came across a pristine car that was parked where it couldn't have even gotten to. It was like on top of a cliff. Initially, the witnesses left it where it was, assuming whoever put it there would eventually retrieve it, but upon subsequent hikes, they noticed that the car never left its spot, and they finally climbed up to where the car was to inspect it and found nothing unusual about it, but they discovered strange tracks in the snow, which were oval, and some were in nearly vertical surfaces where neither beast or man could step. At some point, one of the witnesses went off on their own, where they found themselves face to face with a white creature that was about 2 feet tall, oval, and lacked any features save for a pair of luminous eyes. Tripod creature. The tripod creature was an extraterrestrial sighting that took place on August 15th, 2009 in Pennsylvania, and the witness claimed to have seen a 4-foot round luminescent orb on the roof of a building that he worked in, and it had a baby blue eye which was moving rapidly, rubbery looking legs, and bulbous feet. Telepathic football. The telepathic football was a bizarre cryptid reportedly sighted on January 12th, 2002, and the group of friends were looking for a pet snake when suddenly they saw a creature about 30 meters away, which appeared to be a stray dog, and they immediately picked up rocks to throw at it and avoid attack. However, the animal just stood there motionless and fearless and did not get scared as ordinary dogs would normally do, and shortly afterwards the strange animal began to move towards them. Suddenly it stopped and stood up on 2 legs, and teenagers shortly began to feel some type of energy, and quote unquote it was like an electrical shock in the stomach. They later said that it walked upright again, making a loud dragging noise, and slowly leaped away. They described the animal as being weirdly shaped, as quote unquote it was like a rugby football with legs. The pancake bakers from space. Now, this was an extraterrestrial sighting that took place in April 18th, 1961, near Eagle River, Wisconsin, and the witness claimed that he saw a humanoid emerge from a silver craft of some sort, while several others could be seen within the ship, and it did not speak any English, and all communication took place in the form of hand gestures. However, the witness subliminally received a sort of telepathic message to fill a jug of water for the creatures, and when he returned with the jug of water, he found the creatures cooking what appeared to be pancakes on a flameless type of grill, and in exchange for the water, the entities gave Joe 4 of the pancakes. Nuevo Laredo alien. No, it's just a video, Look at the video, look at the video. The Martian Sasquatch. Now, this is a photo that allegedly was taking place in Mars in November 2007. Ghostly Scarecrow. This was an extraterrestrial sighting that took place in 2005 in a small provincial farming village of Huai Nam Rak in Thailand, and the witness claimed he saw the being while bicycling past a field sometime between 8 and 8:30 a.m., and he described the entity as being a scarecrow but was somehow automated, but upon closer evaluation decided it was a living creature. Green Children of Woolpit. Now, this was a legend that concerned 2 children of unusual skin color who reportedly appeared in the village of Woolpit in Suffolk, England sometime in the 12th century, and the children, brother and sister, were generally normal appearance except for the green color of their skin, and they spoke in an unknown language and would only eat raw, broad beans. Eventually they learned to eat other food and lost their green color, but the boy was sickly and soon died after he and his sister were baptized. Ngoy Rung. Ngoy Rung is a Bigfoot that originates in Vietnam, Laos, and Borneo, and is between 6 to 7 feet tall and almost completely covered in black or dark reddish fur, and sometimes described as with graying patches. The knees, feet, and hands are all described as bare, and this may have been the creature that was encountered. The rock apes, the rock apes of Vietnam. Remember that one? Yeah, you guys remember. You remember. Jodhpur baby. The Jodhpur baby was a strange humanoid body discovered in Jodhpur, Bawadi village, where the villagers were digging a tube well to fetch water. Flying mist mattress. Flying mist mattress was a bizarre phenomenon encountered by a woman one night in November 2001. The story goes, while driving a friend home along Highway 36, the two women were startled by a rectangular cloud of mist that flew across the road in front of them at incredible speeds. England highway humanoid. Now this was a strange humanoid cryptid that was caught on film on the highway in England, and it was filmed sometime in like 2007. Mountain boomers. Mountain boomers are a soaring cryptid said to haunt the forests and roadsides of West Texas, and they are said to be bipedal reptiles or non-avian theropod dinosaurs. 1856 French pterodactyl. The 1856 French pterodactyl was an entombed pterosaur which was reportedly awoken when miners constructing a tunnel split its rock. It's just never been legend though. Whipping Tom. Jesus, this one's weird. Whipping Tom was the nickname given to two sexual attackers in London and the nearby village of Hackney. Both men would attack women walking home alone and beat them on the buttocks, on their asses. I'm sorry. Oh my god. The earliest recorded attacker of this nature was active in 1681, in which he would approach unaccompanied women in alleys and courtyards and bend them over on his knee, lift their dress, and spank them before fleeing. What the fuck, man? Boneless. Boneless was a cryptid reported from the Peak District of the United Kingdom, described as an enormous black slug-like creature resembling a whale. Octosquatch. Now this was a bizarre cryptid allegedly observed in the summer of 1961, and it was described as being around 3 to 4 feet tall and looking like a hairy octopus, all covered in shaggy rust-colored fur with at least 4 tentacles and a pair of round glowing eyes. Singing spiders of Paris. Now this was a story about giant arachnids that were blamed for mysterious disappearances around the tomb in Paris that were said to draw out their prey with a siren song. Demolition elves. This is the name given to global apparitions of diminutive beings seen directly before or after mass disasters. They have allegedly been sighted worldwide on significant occasions and seen by multiple people at a time. The Third Man. The Third Man or Third Man Factor is a name given to an unseen presence reported mainly by mountain climbers and hikers throughout history. The witnesses all find themselves behaving as if an extra person were present who is not really there and is not actually seen directly. Often this sense of presence is so strong among all that they find themselves preparing food and bedding for a third man. Star jelly. Star jelly is a gelatinous substance sometimes found on grass or even on the branches of trees, and according to folklore, it is deposited on the earth during meteor showers. It is described as translucent or grayish white gelatin that tends to evaporate shortly after having fallen, and explanations have ranged from the materials being the remains of frogs, toads, worms, or byproducts of cyanobacteria, or even the paranormal. I'm going to be honest with you, to me, it just kind of looks like cum. The man in the plastic bag. This was described as a normal but creepy human being, and witnesses said he was crouching, wearing boxer shorts, and not wearing any footwear. The sighting goes as follows. 6 people were in a tunnel in California when they spotted a man with a plastic bag on his head, crouching, wearing boxer shorts, and with the absence of footwear, and the witnesses got their smartphones and tried to photograph the man, and when they went to talk to him, he just walked away in the woods with the plastic bag still on his head. The Charterhead. The Charterhead is an alleged spirit found in Pennsylvania, and they are said to be spirits or spirits of witches sent to cause harm. And Orang Minyak. In Malay ghost beliefs, the Orang Minyak is a supernatural creature coated with shiny black grease who abducts young women at night. And Orang Minyak literally means oily man in Malay. Supposedly, the creature is able to climb walls and grab victims while evading capture due to its slippery coating, and according to some folklorists, the orang minyak has been alternately described as appearing naked or wearing a black pair of swimming trunks. Chirufe. The Chirufe is a large, man-eating mythical creature found in the Mapuche mythology of the indigenous Mapuche people of south-central Chile. It is an evil humanoid creature made of rock crystals and magma, and it's said that the Chirufe inhabit magma pools found deep in Chilean volcanoes and are the source of earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. The only way to abate the Chirufe's appetite for destruction was to satiate the beast's taste for human flesh by throwing a sacrificial victim into the bowels of its volcanic home. Much like the European dragon, the Chirufe's preferred delicacy came in the form of virgin maidens. Alright, next up, we're moving on to tier 14. Let's go. Virginia TV man. Now this one was just a guy, TV on his head, and he was just leaving old TVs on people's porches. Yeah, literally. Goofus. Goofus is a fearsome creature reported by the American lumberjacks of the 19th and 20th centuries. Apparently the bird is from Minnesota and Wisconsin and built its nest in the shape of an igloo with the exit underneath. Somehow unknown to man, the eggs managed to stay in the nest, and the bird also had the ability to fly backwards. Pard. The pard is a deadly and swift feline creature mentioned in medieval bestiaries, and the pard is said to be a large spotted feline that will kill its prey in a single leap. They are also said to enjoy blood, and the pard is thought to mate with the lion or lioness to produce a leopard. Fuck, that's so dumb. Oh my god. Black flamingo. So black flamingo, man. I don't know what else I can say about it. It's a flamingo. It's black. Dogigator. This is a river cryptid that has the appearance of the hybrid of an alligator and a dog. It can be seen in the Abita Mystery House and also the Anita Mystery House, which have a variety of cryptids, and one of them is named Darrell. So cool. Pretty nice. Iliamma Lake Monster, also known as Ili, is an aquatic cryptid reported to dwell in the small Alaskan fishing village of Iliamma, and the natives' tales describe a large beast that roams the waters, and the monster has many reported sightings along with few reported to have caused deaths. Were hyena. Were hyena is coined an analogy to a werewolf, and it is common in the folklore of the Arabian Peninsula, and unlike werewolves which are usually portrayed as being originally human, were hyena lore tells of hyenas that are disguised as humans. Greenock Catman. The Catman of Greenock is a famous urban legend that comes from the scenic harbour town of Greenock, Scotland, and tales have been told for decades about a mysterious rat-eating catman who stalks its alleyways and disappears without a trace. No one knows his real name or where he is from, nor have they ever heard him speak. However, locals have captured him on camera a few times, gaining the legend more notoriety and confirming his existence. Nanawe. Nanawe is the name of a shark man in Hawaiian mythology, and he was the son of the Shark King and a Hawaiian maiden. And the Shark King told his wife, or Nanawe's mom, Kalie, to not let Nanawe eat meat, and it was not too long before Kalie noticed that he had a gaping fish mouth on his back. Shortly after Nanawe was born, the townspeople noticed that Nanawe was, a shark person, and not too long after finding out, they tried to kill him, but he ended up escaping. Originally, he was described as a normal-looking young man with a gaping mouth of a shark on his back, but in later legend, he is described with more shark-like characteristics, and in other stories, he is also able to shapeshift into a shark. Jinshin Mushi. The Jinshin Mushi is an insect from Japanese folklore and is described as a fist-sized insect that has branch-like appendages sprouting from their thorax that could generate sound waves. The sound waves generated by this creature were capable of affecting many different types of minerals that causes them to collapse, and a swarm of them could cause a small earthquake. Butterfly people. Now this is just associated with the descriptions of various young children who supposedly encountered seemingly angelic beings, often called butterfly people, with multicolored wings and often surrounded by shimmering or orbs of light, although descriptions may vary. Real-life cat girls. Now this refers to the creation of real-life, anthropomorphic, Nikomimi anime cat girls using modern genetic engineering techniques. This guy made a video on it January 3rd, 2011. Pretty sure he went on to talk about using bacteriophage to create cat girls in real life. It was weird. Whirling Wimpus. Now, this is a Sasquatch-type creature that was said to be responsible for many disappearances of lumberjacks in the North American woods. It's said to be a bloodthirsty 7-foot-tall gorilla-like animal, and when it sees prey coming down from a pathway, it hides, usually at the bend end of a trail. And then when the victim comes nearer, they begin to spin around on one foot or hoof and becomes practically invisible. And then the Wimpus attacks and makes it into molasses or maple syrup. Jeez. Tripodera. The Tripodera is a mysterious creature from the California wilderness and is described as having 2 telescopic legs and a kangaroo-like tail that it uses to balance itself. However, 4-legged varieties of the Tripodera have also been seen, and these lack the long tail. Teaketler. The teaketler is a critter from North American lumberjack tales originating in Minnesota and Wisconsin, and it resembles a small stubby-legged dog with the ears of a cat. And it gets its name from the sound it makes, which is akin to boiling a tea kettle. It only walks backwards, and steam emits from its mouth as it makes its whistle. Biblically accurate angels. You know how angels are usually shown as like wings, and they have harps and all that shit? No. Here's how they would actually look as described in the Bible. Warning, there's flashing. Back away from the damn screen. Yeah, and here's some more. Look at these creepy bastards. Actually, I take it back. They're kind of cute. Look at them. Look at the little guy. Splinter Cat. The splinter cat is a fearsome creature in the folklore of the United States, and they're described as being a nocturnal feline of great ferocity, as it flies through the air with terrific speed, and when it hits a large tree, it knocks the branches off, withers a trunk, and leaves it standing. However, the act of breaking trees open with its head constantly leaves it in a state of having a headache, which causes it to always be in a foul mood. The Ratman of Southend. Now, this is an English urban legend originating in Southend on Sea, Essex, and the story tells of an old homeless man seeking shelter from the cold in an underpass that was set upon by a group of youths and had been beaten to near death. And as he died, numerous rats who inhabited the area were found to have devoured his face. And after this, a ghostly figure was spotted on the underpass, with people hearing rat-like squealing and scraping. 10-legged polar bear. This is an oceanic cryptid in Inuit legend that is said to be a 10-legged polar bear. It is carnivorous and said to attack Inuit villages just like a normal polar bear. However, it has 10 legs. Living terror birds. Now, terror birds were an extinct clade of large carnivorous flightless birds. But yeah, there have just been reports of these guys actually living. Iowa dragons. A number of Burlington, Iowa residents have reported seeing several Iowa dragons flying over their city in recent years, and witnesses described it as a brown skinned with a long snake-like body and 15-foot bat-like wings. Its head was shaped like a seahorse and had a skinny tail flowing behind it. Bonacon. The bonacon is a legendary creature described as a bull with inward curving horns and a horse-like mane. Medieval bestiaries usually depict its fur as reddish brown or black, and because its horns were useless for self-defense, it was said to expel large amounts of caustic shit from its ass at its pursuers, burning them. And yeah. The Nameless Thing of Berkeley Square. This was a strange entity that appeared on the 18th and 19th century in 50 Berkeley Square, and many people believed that this entity was categorized as a supernatural creature, and others believed it was a cryptid or a mutant that can be described as a cephalopod. No one knows exactly when the building got its terrifying reputation, but the first incident was said to happen in the late 17th century when newspaper reports began calling this building disturbed and haunted and inhabited by something truly demonic. Grendel. Grendel is a character in the Anglo-Saxon epic poem Beowulf, and he's one of the antagonists in the story. He's described as a creature of darkness, exiled from happiness, and accursed of God. He's usually depicted as a monster or a giant, although his status as a monster, a giant, or other form of supernatural being is not clearly described in the poem. Old Man Weary. Old Man Weary is an ongoing haunting said to take place on Weary Road in Wisconsin, and the original story involves an elderly fellow named Old Man Weary, and it was said that he enjoyed entertaining local children, and this caused their parents to accuse him of being a pedophile. Although he was never proven guilty, the parents secretly conspired to do away with him, and one night they all snuck out into the night and burned his house to the ground. Unfortunately, some children were present during this and died in the resulting fire, and the rumor goes that despite all of this, Weary was actually innocent. Phantom Whistler of Louisiana. This was an invisible entity that was reported by an 18-year-old woman, as well as her mother, and no one actually managed to catch a glimpse of the being, as it would hide in the bushes outside of their house at night and wolf whistle, similar to catcalling construction workers. Sometimes this would be followed by a blood-curdling moan. Swirling basement thing. This was described as a disturbing phenomenon encountered by several people in the basement of an apartment building in Wisconsin, and one witness described their experience with the entity being as they went downstairs to retrieve a basket of laundry and they were overcome by a swirling black cloud of pure darkness that attempted to envelop her body, and the entity retreated back into the corners of the room after she screamed. Sussex Serpent. The Sussex Serpent was a bizarre serpentine creature allegedly sighted in England, and when the creature was finally killed, it was found to measure 40 feet in length, and its body was serpentine and appeared to have wings folded against its back. Mossman. Mossman is a fictional character from the popular Masters of the Universe franchise, and as his name indicates, he is made of moss, and his power is to camouflage into foliage and other green areas, as well as to control all plant life. Alright, last but not least, we got tier 15. Let's fucking go. Let's go. Staten Island Godzilla. Now, this is just this video. Holy shit, guys, did you see it? It's Godzilla. He's real. And he's gonna get you. He's gonna get you. Grrr. Grrr. Among Us spotted in real life. You're can't even fucking do this. You're sus. You're sus. Paranormal World videos. Now, these are videos that just reference like paranormal activity, ghosts, all that type of stuff. All that type of stuff. Giant flying spaghetti monster. Then no joke. The giant flying spaghetti monster is the deity of the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, which is a social movement that promotes a lighthearted view of religion and opposes the teaching of intelligent design and creationism in public schools. And yeah, it's a legit religion, dude. For real. Hitler's dog soldiers. Now, these are just reports of dog and human creatures described by Polish villagers over generations, and apparently legends said that you would hear from children who were taken from their parents and locked up for searching for them, and there were supposed huge underground tunnel systems that housed the genetic hybrids and secret labs and secret experiments. And the alleged soldiers were known as the Wolf Wase, and these alleged super soldiers were made from the technology not known to man at that time or since. But hey, that's just a theory. Nah, fuck. Can you tell that I'm losing it? I'm so fucking tired. But you know what? We're almost done. Let's keep it going. Ace Folly. In church history, the term Ace Folly really means men without a head, or various schismatical Christian bodies. And yeah, this is really what they look like. Yeah. Rubber duck in the sky. Now, this video. You see it? It's a giant duck. It's the real God. The mini ducks are their spies. You're being watched right now by them right now. You're always being watched. And one day, the great road duck will return and enslave all of us and force us to mass produce mini rubber ducks for all of eternity. Doorbell dino, yes. It's just this picture. And I don't have an explanation for it. Akra Buamelu. Now, this creature has origins in Mesopotamian mythology, legend, and folklore, and they're said to be created by the ocean goddess Tiamat to wage war against younger gods. and her traitorous ex-boyfriend. And it's much like a centaur in nature in the sense that its body type is humanoid from the waist up, and from the waist down it has the body of a beast. And in common tales, the lower body is often that of a gigantic scorpion rather than that of a horse. Kasa Obake. Kasa Obake are a mythical ghost or yokai in Japanese folklore. They are sometimes, but not always, old umbrellas. They are generally old umbrellas with one eye and jump around with one leg, but sometimes they have 2 arms or 2 eyes and other features, and sometimes they are depicted as having long tongue, and sometimes, but rarely, they even have 2 feet. Calling boss baby at 3 a.m. Bro, I don't fucking know. Look, I'm pretty sure, like, I'm dead ass sure this is supposed to be, like, completely ironic, but there's actually, like, videos on YouTube, like, calling boss baby at 3. I can't figure out if the concept itself is why it's so low on the list, or if the actual videos like this one guy made about being like completely obsessed with the boss baby is why it's so low on the list. Like look at this shit. Blink twice if Illumination Studios is holding you and your family hostage, bro. Harikikigaki organisms. The Harikikigaki was just a 16th century medical text of unknown authorship which claimed that diseases were caused by tiny bugs that crawled into the body. And the Harikikigaki advises using acupuncture and herbs to deal with these certain bugs. DMT entities. Warning, this one has flashing in it again. So if you have epilepsy or experience light-induced seizures, I love you, but back away from the damn screen. Now, these are categorized as follows. They're like playful, prankish machine elves. They're anthropomorphic beings like spiders, cacti, manti. They're helpers and guides. Sci-fi aliens, some fitting the descriptions of gray, blues, reptilians, and more. There are some types of report of like galactic councils and spiritual elders looking to impart knowledge, laws, and instructions of behavior. There's just like a lot of these entities that people come into contact with when they're on DMT. Never tried it before though, so I can't really know what I'm talking about, but there's a lot of people talking about it. Life within stars. Now this is just the concept that if life did arise in the core of a star, or if it does exist, it would need to like consume the core's energy to survive. As a result, the star might like cool faster. Yeah, they just have to eat up the star. Or if they did exist and not have to consume some form of energy, they'd just be like an extremified, like a really, really, really fucking small type of bacteria. Sleep paralysis demons. You know what sleep paralysis is. You know, everyone has experienced. Well, no, actually I don't know. Is it common? Is sleep paralysis common? Well, it fucking sucks. It's like a state during waking up or falling asleep in which a person is unable to move or speak. And during an episode of one of these, you might hallucinate. I've never actually seen what people call sleep paralysis demons. have experienced sleep paralysis. It fucking sucks. Sucks shit. Thank God I've never actually had to see one of those shits. Alien species in the BLT's void. The BLT's void is like an enormous barren sphere. It's 700 million light years away from Earth, and it's like completely fucking empty. And there's a theory that advanced civilizations live in there. Upland trout. The upland trout was a fearsome critter from North American folklore, and these fish built their nests in trees, and yeah. Yeah. Opium pipe fish. The opium pipe fish was a critter whose origins lie in the oral traditions of North American folklore. And, yeah. Opium pipe fish, quote unquote, live almost entirely on opiates. And they simply eat it or hold it into their mouths until they find a nice sunny beach where they could smoke it at leisure amidst pleasant dreams. Holy shit. Axe-handle hound. In American folklore, the axe-handle hound is a fearsome critter of Minnesota and Wisconsin, and the animal resembles a dog with a body in an axe-like shape. The head is shaped like an axe blade, and it is complemented by an axe-handled shaped body and short stubby legs. Joint snake. Now this is a legendary creature of southern United States, and supposedly the snake can break itself or be cut into pieces and then will reassemble itself. Gorilla crow. Nothing much to say about this one. It's just a fucking gorilla. Just gorilla crow. Gorilla crow. Yep. Vegetable lamb of Tartary. The vegetable lamb of Tartary is a legendary zoophyte of Central Asia, once believed to grow sheep as its fruit. It was believed that the sheep were connected to the plant by an umbilical cord and grazed the land around the plant. and when all accessible foliage was gone, both the plant and the sheep died. Dade City flowers. Now, this was an extraterrestrial sighting in 1924 in Dade City, Florida, in which the witness said they saw a strange egg-shaped object sitting in the grass, and out of it came little robotic people carrying some sort of weapon or device, and they were like robot flowers or whatever. Giant shrimp in the laundry room. Now, this was a cryptid sighting in 1948, and the account was originally published in like a quote-unquote issue 6 of Strange magazine, and the entity was seen standing inside a large hole in the wall of a basement in the laundry room. Garson invaders. This was an extraterrestrial sighting that took place in 1954, and the witnesses spotted through the aliens, reporting them as more than just hostile, but outright apocalyptic. And they were counted as their saucer was spherical in shape, and after landing, the entities emerged from the craft and were described as colossal entities, 13 feet in height, with bluish-green skin and faces of color that they had never seen before, and the body seemed to glow, and they had a single eye in the center of what passed for a forehead. Spaghetti tree. The spaghetti tree was literally a hoax that was broadcast on April Fool's Day by the BBC network, and at the time, spaghetti was relatively unknown in the UK, so many people believed that you could grow spaghetti on trees. Veggie Man. Now, this was a reported sighting in 1968 in Fairmont, West Virginia, in which a man claimed that he saw Veggie Man that was said to be very tall, arguably over 7 feet, with a semi-human shape. Also appeared to be partially plant-based and possessed large ears with striking eyes that oscillated in colors. And its arms were thin and gave the impression of reeds by a riverbank, and on the ends of its long fingers were suction cups that had thorns protruding from them. Six-legged rape centaur. This was the name given to a bizarre-looking unidentified creature that somewhat resembles a centaur from Greek mythology, and it appeared in a eyewitness account posted in 4chan in November 2008, in which he claimed that the centaur had raped an individual to death before returning to where they were buried and taking the body and performing necrophilia. Yep. Yeah, weird one. Alien spider on building, and that's just this video. Holy shit. I'm tired, bro. That was long as fuck. You have no idea. Like, you think that video was long. This recording this shit was just, oh my god. Oh man, but it was cool. You got to see some shit that I never thought I'd ever see, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I really hope that I post this before Halloween. That was a plan, but nah, I think I'll be able to do it. I'll be able to do it. Again, hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah, if you're into Halloween, happy Halloween. If not, have fun in hell.